Calling all sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
Your life.
Hope you're having a great Thursday. Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910, coming to you from Twin Peaks Camelback. That's in Phoenix. We're here for the next 3 hours, talking sports, pop culture, a lot of good stuff, a lot of lists today. Got to get into some lists. Let's see if I can stump the young guys, Manuch and Jimmy B. Got Jax with us as well.
I appreciate the young guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
nice of you.
Once a week, I'll give you some compliment there.
We appreciate that, Rock.
Least I can do.
Very much.
It's good therapy for him to do that.
We also got Richie back at the iHeartRadio studios. We are video streaming, that is, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Just search Roc and Manuch, Fox Sports 910. We're always on the iHeartRadio app. And if you're like me, you have HD in your car. 99.9 HD2, and then we're in, why don't you just say it, Jimmy? We're in FM. How do you say we're on FM?
Well, I just say HD2.
Yeah, on FM.
On FM.
Yeah, see, because he's got the FM voice.
He does. He's got that FM DJ
He's
voice.
got that DJ voice.
Spinning the tunes coming at you.
Well, let's get to what are some of the top stories that we're going to get into this hour.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
I think it's got to be the Cardinals and what's going on. It's just been a horrific season for them on and off the field. And, of course, yesterday, late afternoon, we found out that General Manager Steve Keim has taken an indefinite leave of absence from the team related to his health. As it was quoted as he's currently, it says Arizona Cardinals General Manager Steve Keim is currently on health-related leave of absence. Keim's duties are being handled on an interim basis by Vice President and Player Personnel Quentin Harris and Vice President of Pro Personnel Adrian Wilson, and out of respect for his privacy, which is required by law. Interesting that they added that in the statement. The team will refrain from commenting any further. There's speculation, of course, going around. People are talking of what it could be, might be. Hopefully it's not, but we'll leave it at that. Of course, we're privy to probably a lot of rumors more than most, as, of course, when news like this hits, people are calling each other and trying to find out why. Whenever you hear something where it's an indefinite leave of absence, you know it is health-related in most cases or something personal, and it needs to be left personal. Mm-hmm. And we hope that if it is what some people think it is, you hope that he'll get the care he needs, and he'll be better off down the road. But I'm sure what he's going through with the combination of whatever his personal life is, and then you deal with the stress of a team that is not having success, it's got to be rough.
Yeah, it is. And whatever the situation is, thoughts and prayers with Steve. Go get it taken care of. We hope it's all good to go. And whether it's 2 weeks, 3, 4, whatever that's going to be. And also, I think the stress of, you talk about the team, Rob, but maybe job security. And that could weigh into a lot of it as well, too, with what's going on with this Cardinals team. But a lot going on. And I'm glad that this is happening. If this is an issue that he's got to deal with, that he's dealing with it now and just moving forward. Hopefully just put it behind you forevermore.
I'm with you on that 100%. Look, everybody has problems in their life, and it is not a bed of roses most of the time. You have to come to grips with things. I hope that he gets this taken care of and that he is back soon.
Cardinals officially placed Kyler Murray and wide receiver Rondale Moore on the injured reserve yesterday afternoon, as Murray will undergo knee surgery sometime right after Christmas, according to head coach Cliff Kingsbury. They've signed some players. They've promoted some players. They will get ready to play Denver on Sunday, and we found out today Russell Wilson will go for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, it looks like right now the Cardinals offensively, guys, 10 players on IR as of yesterday.
Oh, that's crazy.
David Blau got signed yesterday, former Vikings on the inactive squad, and then also Carson Strong. Blau will be active for this. We talked about this, Jimmy. And so Carson Strong will be on the inactive. And you look at the defense, only 2 on IR, but there are many questionable for this game going up to Denver as well, Rock.
It's amazing if they had all played in the preseason, this may be expected, when they had such a soft offseason.
Sure.
especially preseason. I know you guys talked about it yesterday. It seems
We didn't talk about that.
It seems
Yeah,
it did. You guys always tell me the next day what you talked about. I don't need to hear what you talked about yesterday. That's old news. Let's move it forward.
For those people that want to hear it,
and
go
no one
back
cares.
to it.
So you can go. They can check out the podcast, right? You would expect that this not be the case.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's the yin and the yang to that all the time. Should they have played more? I feel they should play more. Maybe you won't see as many injuries. It's practices. They don't go full bore. And then a lot of injuries just happen. But for this Cardinals team, it seems to befell them the 4 years that Cliff Kingsbury's been here. One guy is Kyler Murray. He can't stay healthy to save his life for an entire season. But a lot of it, I think, so many, you look around the National Football League, some teams get hit with the injury bug, some don't. So when you look at some of the injuries that are having, is it soft tissue injuries? Is it bones? Is it meniscus? Is it knees? Whatever. I think a lot of the soft tissue, and my opinion, I'm not a doctor here, have to deal with a lot of these guys maybe don't practice hard enough or don't have themselves in football conditioning shape. And there could be some things like hamstrings. Rondale Moore has had this lingering hamstring injury the entire season.
He had it
Preseason,
in college.
yeah.
Preseason.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those things. So I don't know. I think that I remember last year, Steve kind of specifically said we have to look at our training staff and really look at why we have so many soft tissue issues or this issue or that issue. But here we are again. You got 12 guys, 10 of those on offense that are on IR all over again.
Speaking of Rondale Moore, of course, played at Purdue. Found out today that Drew Brees has been hired as an interim assistant coach for the Boilermakers. He's going to help out with the Citrus Bowl, which they play LSU. He's going to coach in that game. Be interesting to see where he takes that, if it'll end up being more than just an interim basis.
Yeah, you know what? Who knows? You can get the bug.
He misses the game.
You get in there, you get the bug. I know the defensive coordinator for Illinois is going to take over, and maybe he sits down with Drew and says, hey, look, you're one of our greatest alumni we've ever had here, aside from the Bob Greases of the world and the many others that were there. And would you be interested in running our offense or maybe start off as a quarterback coach? Can you imagine if you're a kid in that, you're quarterback in that QB room at Purdue and Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, is your quarterback coach or your OC? It just depends if he wants to put that much time, effort, and energy with the young family that he has.
I think that's the key, because I don't think most people understand how much time and energy there is involved being a high-profile coach, whether if it's in college or in the NFL, and it is totally time-consuming. But you get bitten by that bug, and maybe this is what Manuch just referenced. This is maybe okay, I'll give it a try, see if I like it.
Well, he was a football junkie anyway, guys. He was going. He'd get up at 5 a.m.
Yep.
He'd work out till 6:37. That was in the off season.
Yeah,
the way he would do that. So you know what? For Drew Brees, I think pretty much Purdue might say, "What do you want to do?
Yeah.
You want to be part of this or not?"
But he's got so much. He does so much outside of football.
Sure.
He owns a pickleball team. He is an owner of Walk-Ons, which is a chain of restaurants.
right.
I mean, the guy does a bunch of stuff. So we'll see where he's got time. Staying with the NCAA, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker is going to be the new president of the NCAA. It was announced that he's going to take over from Mark Emmert on March 1st. Baker's second term as the Massachusetts governor, he's a Republican, ends on January 5th. Guy played collegiately at Harvard. He brings a decade of transformation at a very high level of different institutions, private and public sectors. He's not what I would have expected them to pull and be the next president of the NCAA. I'm very, very anxious to talk to Rick Horo, who is the sports professor. He joins us. He's going to be here live today at Twin Peaks in Phoenix. He's also a Harvard guy, and get his thoughts on a politician
3 minutes
taking over for the NCAA is, I think, a big, bold move.
Isn't that, though, where it's headed anyway?
Politics?
Yes. Don't you have to be in the political field the way the NIL has changed everything?
Possibly.
The way now that conferences are realigning.
Well, but I also look at the Pac-12.
All of that stuff.
Well, you look at the Pac-12, and they brought a guy in from
Vegas.
From Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't political to
Marketing.
be the commissioner,
Come
So
on.
I don't know. I thought it would be more of a marketing somebody from like the Amazon, Nike,
Okay.
where
A
it is NIL.
A sales type of person.
Yeah, because
with that background.
But maybe that's where it's going. I mean, they know better than us, but the sports professor will be able to.
Hey,
expound
Jimmy,
on it.
and Congress and Senate have spoken by allowing the NIL to have. Remember, they shot
Yes.
down the antitrust violations.
They did.
And the Supreme Court stamped off on that, rubber stamped off on that. So I just want to see somebody that's going to, if there's any infractions or violations or sanctions, it doesn't take 4 or 5 years to get to them. And then there's some teeth to them if they can. There's no way he can put the toothpaste back in the bottle. There's no way.
No.
So I think moving on forward is what can he do to move these sanctions, have more teeth? I guess in Roc and you guys, just to get control of whatever's, it's out there already. So how do you get control? How do you make a wrong or right moving this thing forward?
Some other news, the Suns
2 minutes.
are in Los Angeles to play the Clippers. They're 0-3 on this 4-game road trip, which will end tonight. Of course, they've dropped 5 in a row. They're now 16-12 on the season. As a gambler now, which I wasn't last year, I am
But
now.
you are now.
I don't know how I don't take the Clippers tonight.
I agree.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, this is not good right now. I mean,
Well,
we
Kawhi
talk about the
Leonard
teams
probably
being
won't play.
banged up. Yeah, I mean, our local teams being banged up.
Yep.
They're one of them.
Well, Campaign's out.
Yep.
DeAndre Ayton is out.
Yep.
D-Book, questionable,
Questionable.
probably out.
Yeah,
So-
he was around shoot-around yesterday.
He
but that
was,
it.
but I mean, how healthy is he going to be? Is he going to be 100%? Or again, guys, another lingering, hamstring and groin issue that he's been battling all year long. Yeah, I would say the Clippers, this could be, unfortunately for the Suns, could be another blowout. So I don't know why you wouldn't bet the Clippers. And then you got, we got New Orleans on Saturday, and then you got the Lakers
After
on
that,
Monday.
Yes.
So we got a lot going on with the Suns that they got to try to get this ship upright.
Can't tell you, man. I wish it was Sunday already. I cannot wait. France and Argentina
You are
in the
so
World
excited,
Cup
huh?
final.
I see.
I don't even know what time it is, but I'm staying
1
up
minute.
until it
No,
hits.
it's in the morning.
8 o'clock probably.
Something like
I know. Oh my gosh,
Jimmy,
I
you
can't
hear
wait.
the facetiousness
I
oozing
heard
from his voice,
I
Jimmy?
know that. I know that.
I'm not gonna lie, my last name's Morocco. I would have liked to see Morocco
Morocco.
beat France and then have some fun with Morocco and Argentina.
Sure.
But Morocco will face Croatia in the third place game, which is Saturday. So there you go. There's the wine cup. That's your World Cup final notes for today.
You said wine cup. You're
Yeah.
going to drink that wine
That's-
watching that?
He'll be into the wine
Little
early
Freudian.
watching soccer.
ASU's back in action Sunday as well. Basketball. They're hosting San Diego. They've won 8 in a row following their win over Creighton. How about that? They're 10-1 on the year. You got Arizona and GCU both off until Saturday as well. But we are out here at Twin Peaks in Phoenix. Don't forget, if you text Peaks to 55678, you'll be entered to win the backyard grill set. It's a patio grill set, and you can do it daily. Just text Peaks to 55678, and you'll be entered. You can do it once a day. Standard message and data rates do apply. Again, that's Peaks to 55678 for the backyard grill patio set, courtesy of Twin Peaks. Our good friends Blue Moon and Coors Light as their specials every Thursday to kick off the football season, or football weekend, I should say. And they've been doing it all season, so check that out. So we're out here. You're listening to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
Arizona State is back at
Manuch and Jimmy B out here at Twin Peaks on Camelback. As the Cardinals get set on Sunday afternoon, get ready to take on the Denver Broncos. And with the 10 IR individuals on the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray going on, and as we look at it, a couple things you come to mind when you stop and think about this Arizona Cardinals team. And I want to pose this to you guys in reference to our State 48 Roofing. It's your call question of the day. For a free quote, repair, or installation, head to state40roofing.com and follow them on social media by searching hashtag sexy roof status. What kind of quarterback would you choose for the Cardinals now that Murray may be out for a year or more?
One that can play.
Yeah, one that can play.
Yeah. Would it be a top free agent starter?
No.
Top free agent starter. Number 2, a top free agent backup.
No.
Number 3, a mid-round draft choice.
Why?
And number 4, leave it as it is now.
Can we change it? Just
go
one
to-
that can play.
Just go to @Roc and Manuch
Why can't we just change it?
Twitter.
We both had the same idea.
Yeah,
One
let's
that
just
can
change it.
play.
Well,
Yeah.
you got 4 choices there. One that can play. All 4 of those can play.
We don't know
At
that.
this
You don't
point-
know if a mid-round draft choice can.
What I'm saying here, guys, is putting it out there. When you
You
look at
wrote it. We're just
Yeah.
trying to answer it.
now, let me ask you, what would you prefer? If there's any free agent starters or pretty damn good quarterback that was a starter, would you sign him, or would you go top free agent backup? Somebody's got some experience.
I don't
been
want a
out there.
backup. You already got
Okay.
a backup in Colt McCoy.
Okay, well, you also have a starter that's is going to come back.
But
So
he's not going to be back till late October, maybe November.
I don't. I think the question. I mean, we have to answer the question because that's the question
Yes,
that's
that's
been
the question.
posed.
It is.
However, if there was one, let's talk about it. I would say 4 because this should not be something we discuss right now. We should discuss when the season's over, when there are more
Right,
quarterbacks
right.
that are available.
exactly.
We're not going to know anything right now. This is a waste of our time.
No, well, here's the thing, and that's why I probably should have put after the season's over.
That
type
makes
of
more
thing.
sense.
That's-
I mean, but after the season, that would change this completely. I mean, who wouldn't want the top free agent starter?
Yeah, but I think that would probably we'd all love that. But would this management they go after a top free agent guy knowing
They don't have
that'd
a
be
choice.
better than
They don't
Colt
have a choice.
McCoy or anything else like
They
that?
don't have a choice, do they? I mean, I know Colt McCoy's under, what, we got one more year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he is a guy good for 3-4 games a year.
If that.
I don't think he's
Or
your
a solid,
starter.
yeah, he's a backup,
He's
spot
a
fill.
backup guy.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah.
But knowing
So yeah, I think you need to make a run at somebody like, I don't know, Jimmy G, maybe not the right, but somebody like that can be a
Well,
starter. I mean, this is one of 32 teams. You got to be able to get one of the good.
And-
You got to get a starter.
and Baker could be he's signed
Baker
to.
Mayfield.
I don't know why
Baker-
all of a sudden Baker is somebody that everybody wants when everybody didn't want him.
Well, I think
I mean, it's just
you
I
guys
don't
have
get it.
in evaluating the quarterback. You got to evaluate what do you have now. Do you leave it as is, or what's going to be out there and available from the starting quarterback?
And we won't know that.
Also knowing, well, and this is just hypothetical, guys. If you go, okay, look, go out and get the best guy. That is, he's amenable that once Kyler Murray comes back, maybe it's mid-October, end of October, but you can't just blow off 8 games if he's not coming back until the 8th game of the year.
That's
They
That's
did
the
it-
point right
Cleveland
there.
Browns did it with Deshaun Watson.
Well, no, they didn't.
They
with-
missed 12 games, and they brought in a bunch of quarterbacks, and none of them worked.
Well, Jacoby Brissett handled all that until Deshaun Watson started
Yeah,
the
but
11th
he
game of the
didn't
year.
work.
It didn't work.
He didn't. So
I think you need to look at this and say, all right, we don't know when Kyler's coming back. If he's going to ever come back again,
Yeah.
this could be a career-changing, injury for him.
okay, so
Then you need to go out and get
Okay.
yourself a starter.
my vote would be to go to a top free agent starter. That's available.
Obviously,
But
Yes.
that is well. Here's the thing, guys. But will they pay that amount for a guy for the
they don't
open
have
market?
a choice.
I get it, Rock, but you're talking about the Arizona Cardinals.
The Cardinals, you keep saying that. I mean, Cardinals aren't the same Cardinals. They've spent money in the offseason. They brought in a bunch of guys. I mean, when they bring in J.J. Watt and they bring in some of these other guys, they've been able to pay guys.
This is what they'll do. This is what if you went and got a free agent quarterback, that's a guy that's mid-range free agent quarterback starter. If you paid him, let's say $9 to $10 million a year plus incentives, because you got Kyler Murray making $25 million a year, so you still have that. I could see that. I think that's what I'd prefer. That's what they did with Jimmy G. They brought him back under the guys that basically will pay
All
him
right,
$9 to $10 million.
Your top free agent quarterbacks for next year, Manuch. You got Tom Brady.
Okay.
He's not coming here.
Nope.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Mhm.
I would take him in
a
a
heartbeat.
heartbeat.
Sure, I agree.
Teddy Bridgewater.
No.
Jacoby Brissett.
No.
Joe Flacco.
No.
Guys, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I'm taking the who's
Taylor Heineke.
That could be.
That would be good.
I'm
Geno Smith
I'm interested.
is a free agent.
Could be.
I'm interested.
Case Keenum, no. Daniel
No.
Jones. Lamar Jackson.
Definitely.
I mean, he's on the list, but
And then you can
he's going to
trade
get paid a
Kyler
big.
Murray.
Yeah. What? No, you can't.
Yeah,
Who
can't.
wants him now?
Well, no. I'm saying once he gets back, then you can try to look for.
You already have a Lamar
I think
Jackson.
on the list that I gave you.
I'm well aware of that, but Lamar Jackson is much better doing Kyler Murray things than Kyler Murray is doing.
But he's
going
you want the big
But
bucks, Jimmy.
but guys, if one ball drops,
Yes.
I mean, who's to say you need a player that could do what Kyler Murray could do,
I'm with
knowing that the head coach may not be here,
That is right.
which this whole offense could get blown up and it's going to be a different style.
Yeah, I look at it.
Taylor Heineke, if Washington would let him go, or who knows, Carson Wentz going to be available because Taylor's going to get
I think
paid.
time has passed Carson Wentz. I would not be happy with Carson Wentz being on this team, watching him. I think he's really regressed as a quarterback and watching his play as far as his throws. I mean, if Jimmy G is that viable option and he says, hey, look, here's the other thing too, what they want to come here knowing that if Kyler comes back, he'd be the starter. Or do you look at bringing somebody else in that will compete? Because Colt McCoy, if you don't get anybody, he's going to be your starter for those 8 to 10 weeks. Do you bring in another solid quarterback or solid backup to compete for that job? Now I'm pushed at it because Trace McSorley and David Blau and Carson Strong aren't going to be in that picture. They'll be backups to the best.
Obviously. I mean, Jimmy G's number one on that list.
Mm-hmm.
I would
if
agree.
he would even be available, and do you make a trade within your division?
Why not? I mean, if you
can make a case the 49ers have owned the Cardinals, and all of a sudden you got Jimmy G who's going to just, you're going to give him the playbook? You give the Cardinals their playbook?
Well, why not? If you make that trade within the division, why wouldn't you?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying don't do it. You're the 49ers. Yeah. Why would you trade one of your guys to somebody in the division?
Here's the thing. If they bring Cliff Kingsbury back and Steve Keim comes back as well, they are in a and they're basically they've got to win at all costs. It'll be game, set, match if they bring him back. So they're going to need an experienced guy, a guy that can get the job done week in and week out and be that guy. So if they got to overpay and pay two guys or put an incentive-laden contract in front of a Jimmy G or somebody like that has been starting that can win with this team, and so be it. No, you're going to have to pay that contract, pay that salary when Kyler Murray comes back.
Let me ask you.
2 minutes.
You're gonna have a top 3, possibly top 4, depending on what happens. Draft pick
could be.
Do you grab a I don't know. Bryce Young comes out and you run with him and just throw him in the mix?
No, you wouldn't draft the rookie.
Or C.J. Stroud. I mean, you've done it in other places. No Knicks. You've seen they did it with Trevor Lawrence. They've done it with other quarterbacks in other markets. Why would it make us any different here in Arizona?
What you could do is if you went and got a second or third rounder and you got Colt McCoy there to start the first several games, allow a kid to learn, kind of get his feet wet, kind of digest what's going on, and then at some point you put him in the fold, or you have to put him in the fold, or at least he's there knowing you got damaged goods with Kyler Murray. At least you picked up a top quarterback, maybe a top 5 quarterback within the draft this year. That's the only way I'd look at.
There's some really good quarterbacks coming out.
There are.
I mean, from C.J. Stroud to Bryce Young to Will Levis.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Hendrick Hooker. I mean, if he's healthy.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks that you're not going to get in the second or third round.
No, they'd probably be gone. But I would say this, man, what a bold move for the Cardinals to go draft that
another QB
quarterback. But you got damaged goods, so you don't know what you're going to get with Kyler. Will he be 80% of what he was? Will he be 90%?
You got to worry about the now, not the future.
Well, I agree. That's why I said that's why the first 6 to 8 games are going to be so vitally important, and you worry about Kyler Murray later when he becomes healthy, and you got to worry about these first 6 to 8 games, especially after this horrible season you had this year, to get off the schneid and come out of the gate winning. You just can't put a rookie out there. You got to have your veteran quarterback that's going to be able to run this team like a regular football team.
You're looking for some free food? How about some Coors Light, some old Coors Light, some cold Coors Lights, I should say. Play the Fan Pick'em. It's the Twin Peaks annual Fan Pick'em contest, and it's courtesy of Blue Moon and Coors Light. Hit fanpick'em.com. Get your weekly picks in, and you can win yourself a Twin Peaks Man card. Go to fanpick'em.com. Well, Howard Balzer's going to join us next from GoPHNX.com. We'll get his thoughts on Kyler Murray being out until at least next October, and see how aggressive from the conversation we just had, see what he thinks on that note. He's going to join us next right here at Twin Peaks in Phoenix. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910.
Have in this offense. I think his understanding of where to go if they're trying to get it to him quick, particularly with some of the issues we had up front, that can be
You're live.
a bonus down the stretch here. Trying to finish out the season strong.
It's Cliff Kingsbury talking about how Colt McCoy will be in there and hopefully get the offense going here and get some playmakers, but we'll wait and see as got a few more games. Got Denver this week. Russell Wilson will go for the Broncos. Joining us down the right to a guest line, Howard Balzer from GoPHNX. Always follow him on Twitter at HBalzer721. He joins us now on the Right Twitter guest line. How we doing today, Howard? What's going on?
Not much, guys. How are you all doing?
Good. We just had a pretty extensive discussion on possible free agent quarterbacks for 2023. What may be available, from the Tom Brady's to the Jimmy G's to Taylor Heineke. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are out there.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, some of the guys that may be out there if the Rams let him go. But just your thoughts and what, you've been doing this a long time. When an injury like this goes down, how long does it take for someone to recover and to get back in there and be, back to where you were prior to the injury?
Well, there's so many variables that go into that. And, that's the reality of it. And certainly sometimes the position you play can impact not only when you come back, essentially, but when you can at least be playing what you think is, pretty much the way you're capable of playing. And, of course, we had Joe Burrow of the Bengals, who tore his ACL in late November of 2020 and was available for the beginning of the season, played every game, and, of course, helped the Bengals get to the Super Bowl last year. Of course, Joe Burrow doesn't have, he's a different person than Kyler Murray. And, running the football is not part of his game like it is with Kyler Murray. And when you look at that injury, the way it happened, that was Kyler running and cutting and, the wiggle that he runs with. And so you want that knee to be totally right when he comes back to be able to have that part of his game. And then the real big question to me, guys, and for any player, is how they attack the rehab and how hard they work at it and where they work at it and where it is. And I thought, quite frankly, I wrote about that this week. Is how when Cliff Kingsbury was asked if Murray's rehab will be supervised by the Cardinals medical team, trainers and doctors, he said, that's an interesting question. Right. And then, and then said, but whoever it is, I'm sure he'll do fine. Well, to me, I just paid a guy $230 million.
Yes. What?
You're doing it here.
Yeah.
And I think it's instructive to know, Zach Allen was talking to us. I'm trying to remember when that was. I think it was last week. And his rehab from his ankle injury from last year came up when a lot of people didn't realize what a bad ankle he was playing on for the last month of the season. And then he was rehabbing it throughout the entire off season. And he said that J.J. Watt was my motivator because J.J. was in the Cardinal facility last season within a few days of the playoff game, continuing to work to come back. Because let's be honest, he wasn't close to 100% when he came back from that shoulder surgery and played in the playoff game. And he said, seeing what JJ was doing, it motivated me to be there working out every day. And it turned what he termed an 8 or a 9 month rehab into a 4 or 5 month one. So I think that becomes a question with Kyler Murray is how the rehab will go. We also don't know if they'll find anything else out inside the knee when they do the surgery after Christmas. So like I said, so there's so many variables to this, but guys do come back in 6 to 8 months, and there's no reason to think that he can't. And, the question is, at what level will his game be at that point in terms of the way he runs the football?
I think sometimes, Howard, we've seen this picture with RG3 and a few other running quarterbacks, and their style of play sometimes come back at 80% or 90%. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody come back 100%. But all that being said, when you're looking toward the future, whether it's September, October, whenever it is, this team next year, after this season's over, can't afford to come out of the gate slow. So I got to imagine that the management with Harris and Adrian Wilson, who have now taken over for Steve Keiman, when he gets back, have got to take a good hard look at who to plug in there. And Colt McCoy will be fine, I think, for 4 or 5 games, but they can't come out of the chute struggling like they are these 2 seasons if they're going to afford to keep that fan base intact.
No, it's a great question. But then the flip side of that becomes, well, who do you bring in? I mean, you have the money that you're paying to Murray, and do you bring in a big now, a celebrated quarterback, let's say, or someone's looking for a place, but he's not going to want to come and say, oh, you're only playing until Kyler Murray gets healthy. So that's pretty hard to attract a named quarterback to come. And so if you draft someone, and maybe that is something they could do, but I don't know that you would spend a high draft choice. I mean, you have enough holes on this roster that they're going to have to deal with that, you have to be able to use your own draft picks on other players as opposed to a quarterback, even if it's in the second or the third round. So that's going to be a tough decision of how they deal with it. Now, again, they did sign, they have McCoy, like you said. They signed David Blow, who signed some, played some games in the league, but he's just a guy.
Sure.
But he's a nice guy to have around, but he's not a legit replacement for your quarterback. So it definitely leads to a lot of questions and how they're going to deal with it going forward into next season.
Is Kingsbury going to be the coach next year?
I don't know. I mean,
you got
Michael
any rumblings? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the rumblings are on the outside.
Yeah.
There's certainly no rumblings on the inside, and if there were, we're not going to find out about them.
Yeah.
And I know he's sitting there deciding what is the best move forward for this football team. And I think on one level, you look at things and you say that it's very difficult to evaluate this team and what happened because of all the. I mean, this has been just a constant soap opera with everything that's happened to it all year. On the other side, you have a disgruntled fan base, and we've seen owners make changes just because they feel that they don't want it to have an impact on the box office in terms of fans just feeling. Now, I think you can't make a decision because of that, but that doesn't mean that owners haven't done that, in the past. So that's another tough one that only Michael Bidwell is going to be able to answer when the time comes and this season ends.
Well, Howard, you look at this, they've lost, is it all injuries and you've lost 14 out of the last 19 games and you're 1-12 at home? I mean, we've seen so many gaffes over and over and over. I think the fan base has basically seen enough healthy or not healthy.
Well, but the thing is when you're constant, I was looking at Philadelphia, and here's an example, guys, with the machine that they are right now. Do you realize on that entire offense and defense, they've had 3 players miss any starts? I'm talking about starters. Three starters miss any games this year. 1 on the offensive line missed 1 game, and then their tight end Dallas Goedert missed some games, and now he's coming back this week. And then Gardner Johnson has missed 2 games, and he'll probably be back in a couple of weeks. When he comes back from injured reserve. That's a team that's it's the same players week in and week out. You develop continuity. You develop all those chemistry that's necessary, in this sport. And when you're the Cardinals and you've had so many missed starts, so many drops, so many lineup changes, you obviously don't get that continuity. And then they tease us a little bit because they're in games. They play close games. But then in those critical situations, somebody either makes a mistake or they don't make the big play when they need it because the other team is just a little bit better for whatever the reason. But I agree. Your fan base doesn't want to hear all that because they don't want to know
3
why.
minutes.
They just, I think there's a certain segment of the fan base that just loves to fire coaches for whatever reason and blames it all on them. But that's why I say it's not an easy decision, and there's no guarantee you're going to get anybody who's better. I mean, that's the thing. If you had a different coach this year, how much difference would this season be? Would you maybe have won 2 games that you lost? Who knows? But you still wouldn't be going to the postseason most likely.
All right.
That's why I say it's not an easy one for Michael Bidwell to make because this team's playing hard for Cliff Kingsbury, but obviously in certain situations they're not playing smart.
Do you expect them to play hard then this Sunday in Denver?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen that from this team, and it's not only Kingsbury. It's the leadership in the locker room. With J.J. Watt and and Budda Baker, and guys like that who were signed for that leadership. So yeah, I think they will. And guys know they're playing for their jobs. They know that who knows how many changes there's going to be. There's a lot of unrestricted free agents on this team going into next year, and those players know that hey, all the other teams are going to be looking at the tape, to see. Just to see how they did. So yeah, I don't think I believe I totally believe that the effort will be there. The question is, will the execution be there on a consistent basis? And that's the thing that's been lacking in so many games.
2.
Howard, what are you working on? What can we expect to see at Go PHNX?
Well, we're looking a little bit at Colt McCoy taking over this team and the journey that he has been on throughout his entire career. And had something a little bit on him today and helping Kyler with with his, with his process that he's going through. That just went up today, and have another story tomorrow with some of the other things going on, around this team and all that. But just put it out there for the fans, and hope they enjoy it. One thing I did. How about this little stat? I actually asked Colt McCoy this today, just privately, and the teams he's been on have played 206 NFL games. 206. Chase Daniel, who he was in the same high school class as Chase in Texas growing up, and Chase has played for like 6 NFL teams and is still with the Chargers. They're both 36 years old. He's been on teams that have played 222 games. Who do you think has played the most games?
I'll say Chase Daniels.
Yeah, because you sold it that way. I said it's saying.
Well, actually, the 16 of the games when he was on a practice squad.
Okay.
But I even asked Colton. He said, "Oh, it would be me." And so I said, "Well, no, actually, Chase has played 72 games, and Colt McCoy has played 55." And he said, "Oh, well, I haven't played that many." And I said, "No, I'm talking about playing in games." So he said, "Oh, okay, yes, okay, I see what you're saying." Now, Colt has started 35 games. Chase Daniel has started 5. Can you imagine that? being in the NFL for 14 seasons, bouncing from team to team as a qualified backup, and starting 5 games in your entire NFL career. That's pretty crazy.
Sign me up, Howard. Sign me up. I'm ready. Put me in, Coach.
I love it. Howard, great stuff, buddy.
You still might be able to.
I know.
You still might be able to.
Hey, follow Howard on Twitter.
I know you're going to be watching closely Brock Purdy tonight.
Yes, I will.
Oh yeah,
fun to watch that.
This guy's Brock Purdy jersey on. He's ready to go.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you, Howard.
Balzer
HBalzer721, HBalzer721, and catch him at gophnx.com. Well, we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit. Our Valley Chevy random facts of the day. 10 things
I can't wait for this.
women do that men are baffled by.
Okay.
We will see if you agree next, plus our 72 sold on this day report. Thanks for joining us. We're live at the Twin Peaks in Phoenix. Thanks to Blue Moon and Coors Light. This is Fox Sports 9.
72 sold on this day report. Get our price, a higher price at 72sold.com.
You're live.
No. Manuch is trying to tell me what bars are available. I'm like, dude, trying to tell me that a bar that I plan on going to here in the near future. He's like, no, that's not what it's called. I'm like, really? How would you know?
I know exactly where it's at.
Nah, you don't. Because you called it something else.
I know what corner. I know there's.
Anyway, we're gonna get to a topic that you definitely don't know. Someone on Reddit.
Try me, man.
Someone on Reddit.
Yes.
Ask guys to name things women do that have us baffled. Okay. Well, actually have them baffled, but it's 10 things women do that men are baffled by.
Okay. All right.
Number 10.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get this one. This one, it gets better, I promise you. What's with all the strands of hair stuck to that one wall in the shower? It's like they're putting them up there on purpose, right? I mean, why are they doing that? All that hair.
I don't worry about it. We got 2 separate showers. Lori's got hers, and I got mine.
What?
Yeah, I got my own bathroom and area on one side of the house. She's got the master bathroom, the shower. She's got that whole nine. Because you're
married?
Oh yeah.
You sleep in the same bed?
Oh yeah, we do. But I got my own bathroom to myself. I got my own shower. I got the whole nine.
All right, that's another segment.
Yeah, really.
Another day. Number 9, high heels, and it's a 2-parter.
Okay.
I mean, they're so impractical. It's amazing they haven't been canceled yet, but it's also really impressive that women can walk around with those things.
Correct.
I agree.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't
Dance and all that, so I'll give them credit. So we're baffled by that. Number 8, how you can be interested in a guy, but when he doesn't make a move, then he finally wises up later and makes a move, and then you're not interested anymore. WTF? Really?
Yeah.
This one's great. This is number 7. The conversation where we say, us guys, what's wrong? What does she say? Nothing. Bull. Really, I can tell you something's up. Followed by, I said nothing.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Number 6, casually taking forever to get ready.
Oh, man.
Then acting like everyone else should rush once they are ready. That's BS. Number 5, how women don't dress for an occasion, they dress for an arrival.
So when they
walk in, they want everybody to see it.
Yeah.
Lori will say, I don't have anything to wear. I said, what are you talking about? We're doing this. What do you need? I mean, just put something nice on.
For the 2 minutes they walk in, because after that, no one's going to see them.
Yeah.
Must be sitting in a booth.
Yeah.
Number 4, sharing intimate details of your sex life with friends. Despite all the locker room talk in movies, most guys really don't do that.
No.
Women are worse than us.
Yes.
They're so worse than us. Number 3, this one's kind of weird, a little off the wall. The obsession with popping pimples. Why do women love doing that?
I don't know.
Like, you may have something, like a woman come up to your girlfriend or wife or whatever. Like, let me get that for you.
Yeah.
No. Or you got a little hair, like sticking on your eyebrow. Let me pull that. Don't pull that.
Did you notice that blackhead right next to your side of your eye right there? No, honey, I didn't.
2 more, and these are pretty good. Number 2, being mad about something we did in their dream last night.
Oh, God.
They wake up.
dream.
I had a dream last night, Mike, that you did. I'm like, what?
What?
So why are you pissed off at me right now?
Yeah.
I wasn't in your freaking dream.
It was so realistic, Michael. I'm like, what?
This one's great. Number 1, and this comes down to, again, this is on Reddit. Ask guys to name things women do that have always baffled them, okay? Decorative pillows. Why does a bed with 2 people need 8 pillows?
I'm with you.
Why is that,
100%.
ladies? Why do they need 8? And why does a couch for 4 also need 8 pillows?
I'm with you.
And the change of the seasons, the decorative pillows for the change of the seasons. All the above. Hey, I love it. Christmas, we got spring, we got this, we got that. Could I add something to that, guys? Why is it that baffles us that you remember something we did wrong 4 years ago that I thought we had resolved?
Yes.
But you bring it up if something happens.
BS.
I thought we resolved that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Remember when I forget, but you still remember that?
Oh, yeah. All right, let's get to On This Day Report, which is powered every day by 72 Sold, America's leading home selling program. Home sellers, you need 72 Sold more than ever, and they have a solution. There's no better way than 72 Sold. Let 72 Sold show you the top market price for your home. Go to 72sold.com and get your price, a higher price at 72sold.com. 2002, a four-way trade was announced at the winter meetings in Nashville. The A's get Arubio Durazo from the D-backs.
Mm-hmm.
The D-backs get Elmer Dessens, who sported the fifth best ERA at the time when he was with the Reds. Then the Reds get Felipe Lopez from the Blue Jays, and then the Blue Jays get Jason Arnold from Oakland. That was a busy one.
Yeah, it was. Durazo, the Sens was a pretty damn good pitcher.
Yeah.
At that
was
time.
it Descens? That's how you say his name? Was
Elmer
it Descens?
Descens.
All right.
Yeah.
2004, coming off an injury-shortened season with the D-backs, Richie Sexton.
Remember him.
Batting .233, 9 homers, 23 RBIs.
Horrible.
23 RBIs.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I don't know what the frickin' Seattle Mariners were thinking. They paid him $50 million.
Yep.
You can have him.
To go back to Seattle.
The only thing he would do is he'd hit some bombs in BP.
I was going to say
That's about it at Chase Field.
He knocked
hit some
out a
bombs.
light in center field, and then wow, he knocked out that.
Another
light.
deal today, 2019, Madison Bumgarner spent his entire career with the San Francisco Giants.
Yep.
Wins 3 World Series titles, and the Diamondbacks signed him a free agent deal for $8 million over 5 years.
$85 million.
$85 million, excuse me, over 5 years. How about that?
They're still paying for it.
Yes,
that's for
they
sure.
are.
And last year at this time, Jags fired Urban Meyer less
2
than
minutes.
one season in.
Best thing
2
that
and
ever
11.
happened. Best thing that
2
ever
and
happened.
11.
You talk about drama.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since he stayed after for the bye week back in Ohio
man.
at his bar,
Yeah.
and with the co-ed or the gal. I mean, it was a mess for them to hire him from the get-go.
Coming up in hour number 2, we're going to catch up with Yogi Roth from the Pac-12 Network and talk about Mike Leach. We all have some stories about that. We're going to bring back one of the best quotes, or I should say, not quotes, but one of the best responses to a question in an interview having to do with the Pac-12. And if it's going to be a fight amongst the mascots in the Pac-12, who would win?
That's right.
It's an all-time best. We're going to play that for you coming up. We also got the top 10 weirdest records broken this past year. Of course, the end of the year, we tend to get in a lot of lists here on Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B. We'll dive into that, as well as get some pretty good random facts today and your chance to compete against one of the Twin Peaks girls.
30.
As that's coming up as well. Suns and Clippers tonight, and it's Thursday Night Football with the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. So we got a lot to get into in the next 2 hours. Appreciate you coming along for the ride. It's Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910.
Proudly sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing and is powered by
That was a quick hour.
attorneys
Yep.
Lerner
Yeah.
and Rowe. In Iraq and need a check?
Time
Make
flies, man.
one call, that's all.
Damn right.
977-1900 and always online at lernerandrowe.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B
You're live.
on Fox Sports 910.
Hope you're having a great Thursday afternoon. We're out here at Twin Peaks in Phoenix on Camelback. We'll be here for another couple of hours. Yogi Roth is going to join us from the Pac-12 Network, talk about Mike Leach, a big loss, huge loss. I've had a couple encounters with him, some fun ones, and a story that I'll bring to you that happened in 2006, which had to do with him and Glenn Mason, who was fired after a game, the Insight Bowl. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, just so you know, coming up at the bottom of this hour, around 2:45, you'll have an opportunity to challenge one of the Twin Peaks girls for our Peaks Picks, powered by Coors Light and Blue Moon. Your chance to win a $25 man card from Twin Peaks, as you'll pick 49ers at Seattle, Dolphins at Bills, and then the Cardinals and Broncos. So that's all coming up this hour. But let's get to the top stories that we're getting into in the 2 o'clock hour. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
Well, it's still about 4 months away. It's just a national story we'll dive into, but it's something that I think a lot of people are anxious to see how it will all work out, and that is the new president of the NCAA. That is going to be Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker. He's set to take over for Mark Emmert on March 1st. He currently is in a second term as the Massachusetts governor. It ends on January 5th. He's a Republican, and he's going to come in and take over for Mark Emmert. Of course, Mark Emmert, over the last few years, has taken a lot of heat over how the game has changed, but I think the guy should also be rewarded on how the game has gone to another level, especially for the universities and the amount of money that these schools are now getting because of the networks. And how about the student athletes getting paid? I mean, there's a lot of things that Mark Emmert has done a great job at, and there are some things that you may question, but I think for the most part, and we'll talk to Rick Coro in the 3 o'clock hour, the guy did a great job. If you look at where college football is specifically, and the NCAA tournament and basketball, he did a great job. He got the kids paid, and that is what I think many of you wanted to happen, that they felt that all these coaches and all these teams and all these universities are making all this money, but the student athlete doesn't. Well, they did.
Well, Rock,
now they are.
Emmert put a lot of restrictions to prevent that initially from that, and that's why the
But
players.
he had to do that.
Well,
right?
he had to because the Supreme Court came down on him and said you
Yeah.
cannot prevent. So Emmert was the guy that was wanting to hold off. So I won't give him any credit for that.
But he's still under his reign. It got done
because
it or not.
the Supreme Court forced him to do that. He had to do it. He had to acquiesce.
Rock's point, it still happened under his watch.
Okay,
when you go back and you look at
I
who the
understand
commissioners
that.
are, and
Yeah.
you got to take the good with the bad.
That
Oh,
is
I
right.
get
Right?
that. I get that. But
I just think the guy gets a lot of unwarranted heat. And I know people out there are going to bitch and moan that don't like Mark Emmert. But under his watch, take it or leave it, and maybe he lost some battles and won some battles, the amount of money that has been infused in college athletics came under his watch.
I think
that would be number one.
Okay, a lot of money came from the TV contracts.
Okay, but who oversees that? Who is knocking on the door in New York to talk to these guys from CBS and NBC and ESPN? It's all under his watch.
Okay, and it was under those commissioners, those presidents. Emmert just happened to be
Okay.
a benefactor.
So you don't think Roger Goodell, who basically works for his owners, doesn't get credit when the NFL is where it's at right now?
Well, that's apples to oranges, Rock.
Oh, I
Totally
disagree.
apples to oranges.
It's still a commissioner, a president that oversees his sports.
It's the owners who are, and Goodell basically rubber stamps all that marketing.
Okay, so rubber stamps it.
All right. So Emmert, okay, we'll just say Emmert just happened to be part of the NCAA when all these TV
If
contracts.
he wasn't doing a good job, he would have been fired a long time ago.
You know what? The presidents, the commissioners, they just left him alone. And they're basically, hey, Mr. Emmert, here's what we're doing. What are you going to do about it? He couldn't do anything.
Under his watch, he got a playoff.
Okay, that was Bill Hancock that forced that issue.
Who does he work for?
That basically the NCAA.
Okay,
he's
Mark
separate.
Emmert.
Okay, they are separate of the NCAA.
They are.
The CBS,
but it all falls under the CEO
because
and that is Mark Emmert.
Mark Emmert never instigated any of this. It was all instigated by other people. He was part of it. He's like, well, I can't turn down $5 billion for his contract. What's going to go to the commissioners and president? No, you can't do that. No, hell no. He just happened to be the recipient. He just happened to be in the seat when all this marketing and all this was coming
I
down.
think there's more positive than there's negative with him. I think the NCAA is in a better place today than it was when he got there under, I think it was Miles Brand who was in there. The only thing that I think I would give him some heat on is how he handled the Penn State case. With the exception of that, I think he did a decent job.
I wholeheartedly disagree with all of that.
He did such a bad job.
Penn
Penn
State
State
was
deal.
horrible.
I agree with that 100%. The Penn State, the assessment of Penn State, that was.
But all this other stuff from the marketing and the money and this and that, all that time was coming from all the schools.
Okay, but who oversees the schools?
Okay, Rocky.
How do you not give credit? It's like you not getting credit for Brock Purdy.
Well,
it's under your coaching. Is why Brock Purdy's in the National Football League tonight, and he's starting tonight.
And that's a piece, but I mean,
it's a big piece.
It's a big,
huge piece, Manuch.
But it's like
how do you not give credit to a president?
Well, the president, because basically he had so many. I had more gaffes. I'll give you an example. When you looked at all of the sanctions, lack of sanctions, the time frame. Hell, we're still waiting to see what the hell is going on with ASU, what their sanctions are going to be. I mean, the sanctions that came down yesterday in reference to U of A and that whole thing was a joke. They self-sanctioned themselves more so than the NCAA did. I think the ship is too big for the NCAA right now. I think that they're trying to turn this huge ship around. I hope the new guy gets the priorities down as to what the presidents and the commissioners would want to see. And I hope he can try to get on track with the NIL if he can, because Emmert, basically, he screwed that whole thing up. And everybody went, you know what, the hell with you. We're going to do our own thing. So I wholeheartedly respectfully disagree, Rod, with Mark Emmert and what he did.
For a guy that's been working in college athletics on that side, not the player side, myself, and then even on the professional side, you're going to take the heat. You're going to get the bad stuff, that he did that you may not agree with. But I think overall, if couple of the biggest things that we talk about, and that is paying players and a playoff. It got done under his watch. Under his watch.
He didn't instigate it, though, Rock.
What do you mean? Is he had to be part of the conversations? He had to be part of putting these boards together. I mean, it came under his watch.
Did Mark Emmert,
did it not come under his watch?
It did come under his watch.
Okay, so how do you not get credit? If it didn't happen, the NCAA didn't go to a playoff. If the NCAA didn't do the NIL, didn't start paying players under his tenure, you could say, hey, all right, he didn't get it done. He didn't get it done when he was under his watch.
Had to do it, or people would have said, we're done, we're going to go do our own conferences. He had to sign off on it. It was basically he's letting the tail wag the dog. They did it. They got more money. They got the playoffs. They got NIL, all this stuff. He fought the NIL. He fought all that stuff. They went to him and said, time out. Congress, talking about the politician, the guy from Massachusetts, he's the guy that's going to look. Congress, basically players and teams went to him. They forced NIL, and then the Supreme Court said, no, you can't prevent that, Mark Emmert. It's an antitrust violation. Then they went and said you had to go ahead and start paying the players because of the antitrust violations and the fair labor market values that there are laws. That's it. He was okay. He's part of it. What's he do? I'm not going to sign off on it. Well, sorry, Mark. Whether you don't sign off on it or not, we're going to do it, and they're doing it.
All I know is I'll go back to the NCAA or what he did with Penn State. Okay,
horrible.
He failed on that one. He failed on that way. But by removing Mark Emmert, college sports, there's more problems than who's running it. There just is.
It's too big.
It doesn't solve the problem for college sports if he's out there. Now you put a politician in there. All right, is that going to make it better or worse? We bitch and moan that sports and politics don't go hand in hand. Well, BS. Well, they are now when the governor of Massachusetts is now the president of the NCAA.
That's correct.
Watch out. At least with Mark Emmert, you got an AD. You got a former AD that understood and looked out for the student athlete.
I'm surprised that they picked this individual. I really am. I thought they would have picked a former AD or former president or somebody along that, or even a former commissioner who's ever out there of a professional franchise or pro league that understands it. So I don't. Again,
just the whole world has
doesn't
changed,
make
and
any
now you
difference.
put a politician in there. I mean, you figure Mark Emmert wasn't a politician; he had to deal with gender equality, or he had to deal with all these rule enforcements and stuff that is politics. And maybe that's why there's a guy in there to deal with all that, because our world is so damn liberal in some sense that you got to deal with all that.
And it's going to become.
But he's a Republican, so I'm anxious to see if he can meet across the line and work together with the other side and meet in the middle and make it work in the middle.
That's what we all hope for.
Yeah, we do.
And I think with college sports, that's a commonality with politicians or anybody when it comes to politics is your sports, your colleges, it's going to be all the stuff that you're doing can bring that together. Yeah, I think that right now the NCAA, they need an overhaul, but it's too big to overhaul. Maybe this guy can oversee that. But a lot of things are doing just fine monetarily wise, marketing. You got the playoff system. You got this. You got that. You got all that stuff surrounding it. So I think sports are in a good place despite Mark Emmert and the way he handled a lot of things or resisted a lot of things, which came back to bite him in the butt because now that's what they're doing.
Well, I think they got their politician in there because somebody needs to have some credibility to navigate through D.C., right? So that's important.
I agree with that.
You need somebody outside of college sports,
Yes.
right? A forward thinker, and maybe this guy Baker is a realistic, look at what the needs are for this sport as it's going to a whole nother, or not the sport, all sports.
Mm-hmm.
But someone needs to get a handle on, I'm sorry, if you're born a male, you're playing men's sports.
I agree
Plain
with
and
you there, Ron.
simple. How can you argue that?
I
there's
agree with
no
you there.
way.
I wholeheartedly agree.
That is such, it's mind-boggling
and
how that can exist.
And that former male swimming in a female standard and blowing the competition away, I don't get it. I don't understand it. So I hope that gets taken care of eventually. Those are some of the things that a guy gets in and he goes, oh, I got to deal with that. I got to come here and deal with those particular scenarios. Yeah, that is something that's got to definitely be addressed.
Yeah, with Emmert, hey, there's some things like, to your point, Manuch, he could have done better. He didn't have some solutions of some things. But, man, talk about a tough time to be a president of the NCAAs with what happened with Jerry Sandusky and Penn State,
Sure.
with the Ed O'Bannon lawsuit against, likenesses and
correct.
And then the FBI investigations in college sports and basketball and then the Supreme Court being involved. Man, why do you want that job?
Well, again, and that's why maybe the politician knows how to handle those roads that Mark Emmert was not familiar with. So you're dealing with politicians, D.C., the Supreme Court. Maybe this guy could come in and maybe he knows where the potholes are in order for them to be more smooth of a transition.
Wait and see.
I just thought, and I won't be till March, but I just thought it would be somebody like a top exec at Nike or a top exec. I honestly thought it was going to be somebody from ESPN ABC because they basically own college sports.
They
Sure.
do.
It's a good point.
I thought somebody from the network,
I thought
somebody
they were
from Madison
going. Yep.
Avenue or whatever, is somebody from the top of one of those organizations, a former president.
That's controlling the purse strings.
That's what it is. It's all about money,
that's
right?
All it is. It's all it is right now. It is doing.
It's going to be important for Charlie Baker, the new commissioner or president, to surround himself with people that come from the college athletic world, come from the sports marketing world. I think that is essential for him to have success. And it's just going to be tougher and tougher.
It's like a coach hiring the correct people,
the right coordinators.
That is correct.
Right? I agree.
Same thing.
But you got to give him credit under his tenure with some of the things that went on. You just do. But you also got to give him, a lot of crap for the things that also went on when he was there.
That is correct.
We're going to kind of make it a little bit more. We're going to change it up a little bit, be a little bit more lighthearted, I should say. We're going to catch up with Yogi Roth in about 15 minutes. But we got the top 10 weirdest world records that were broken this past year. Plus, what everyday appliance is the most confusing? Our random facts of the day.
I'll ponder that one.
Brought to you by Valley Chevy. We're out here at Twin Peaks in Phoenix on Camelback. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Facebook that.
Then he woke up from that.
Yeah, from that dream.
Or even the fastest mile running backwards, which is 5 minutes and 54 seconds.
Oh, my gosh.
But other records are just plain out weird, like just stupid weird. And that's the list that we have today.
All right.
There's a new site called UPI.com. UPI used to be big with AP, if you remember. And
Yes,
Jimmy, you
I
remember.
very well.
Yes.
And-
United Press International.
That's right. And they put together a list of the weirdest world records that were broken this year.
Okay.
Now, they're in no particular order, okay, at all. But it's a crazy, you know what. Most soda cans suctioned to a person's head. Some bald guy in Wisconsin, figures Wisconsin, did 10 at once. He claims he has some weird skin condition where his pores suck in the oxygen.
Was he
It's a lot of WTFs today.
wow. Is he a fish out of water for crying out loud? What the hell?
Another one here.
Yeah.
Most eggs balance on the back of your head. Some guy in Iraq did 18 eggs. How the hell do you do 18 eggs? I don't know.
Flathead.
Fastest time to find an alphabetize all 26 letters in a can of of alphabet soup. Campbell's alphabet
Easy for you.
soup.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yes.
Would you like me to read these?
Yes, a guy in Oregon. So think about this: a guy in Oregon,
Yeah.
poured out the alphabet soup,
Right.
and within 2 minutes and 9 seconds was able to put them in order of A to Z.
That guy needs a life. I tell you what.
That's why these are weird.
Yeah.
Fastest tightrope walk in 4-inch high heels. Somebody in Vermont crushed it. The old record was 49 feet. She walked back and forth on a tightrope and never fell. And she decided to stop just under 640 feet.
Man,
Wow.
talk about a balancing act.
Farthest distance to blow a pea with one breath.
You mean like
Like a pea shooter.
Like a pea
Yeah.
shooter?
Yeah, like a pea shooter.
Some guy in Idaho broke the
Oh,
record.
of course it is there.
Just under 85 feet.
He shot a pea 85 feet.
Army may want to hire him.
Yeah.
You'd be a assassin.
Fastest time to assemble Mr. Potato Head. You have to add the feet,
Oh.
arms, and a face.
Okay.
Some guy did it in 5.43 seconds.
Wow.
That's like faster than a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. He's crushing
And
it.
then last one, Wyoming, longest beard chain. Last month, a bunch of dudes tied their beards together and hit 150 feet, which broke the old record of 62 feet.
Why wouldn't it be Wyoming?
Why wouldn't it be there?
On the South 40. They all gathered back
Oh,
there.
man.
Oh, my gosh.
So
Where do you get these?
don't worry about it.
Random.
It's mine. That's
It's
for
yours.
me.
It's-
That's
yeah, I know.
it's my
It's your deal.
Valley
I
7
know it
random
is.
fact.
Yes.
No one wants an appliance with a million settings. Like I just bought 2 new washer and dryers, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Or a washer and dryer. And I went in to Home Depot and I said, dumb it down for me. I don't need all the digital crap. I just want to be able to turn it on and turn it off as fast as I want.
Push the button.
So I got this LG, and it's still I can turn it on with my phone. Which I don't need to do that. Like, oh, why would you need to do that? I have
Just-
no interest in that.
Maybe you're trying to come home. You got a load in there. You've got to turn it on. You're good to go.
So they put together this list of most confusing appliances, and the wash machine was number 1.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, me too.
Followed by the dishwasher.
Yeah, I can see
Then
that.
it was the microwave.
Okay.
Now, microwave. I'm the king of the microwave, so I'm okay with that. Because I can't.
So I have
can't
one.
cook.
I have one
Yeah.
that the time always changes because it's connected to the Wi-Fi, and if the Wi-Fi goes off, then the time goes off, and you got to freaking reset it.
You break the booklet out to reset it.
Well,
You gotta
because
go here.
it's all in Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
It shows the oven and everything.
Right, right.
All Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if the Wi-Fi goes off or it goes on and off, and thanks, Cox. If it goes on and off, then my clock's off. So you get up in the middle of the night, you go to the bathroom or whatever, and you go through your kitchen, and all of a sudden you say, "Oh, it's 7:30 in the morning," and it's really like 1.
Hey, I agree with
PM.
Lori handles the washer dryer stuff. I don't get it. No, I handle the dishwasher. I kind of get all the stuff. I watch the guy, and there's like 95 different things. I'm like, hey, start and then get it going and then close it.
That's
I'm
it.
good. That's it.
Have you
all I
guys seen?
need.
Have you guys seen the report on the most stressful jobs in America?
No.
Like, are our jobs listed there?
Well, the Department of Labor ranked them according to how common high stress situation the high stakes decisions are made in the job.
Right.
A urologist was number 1.
Okay.
Then it was a film and video editors, judges, then telephone operators. How about that?
You still use telephone
I was just going to
operators?
say, unless you get the dispatch people.
Well,
I think that might
maybe
be.
they're included in it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they made.
Yeah.
So a fun part of this list was seeing where our own jobs rank.
Right.
Yes.
And according to the results, we have a
3
pretty
minutes.
stressful job.
We do?
Of the 873 jobs listed,
Yeah.
now they classified it as not a talk show host, but like a radio disc jockey,
Okay.
was 145th. What that means is there's 83% of the jobs are more stressful than ours.
Ours, I thought we'd be like at the very bottom. Just plug in, talk, go from there.
That's what people think.
I mean,
that
you
we
would
do.
think,
That's
you would
all
think
they do.
like you would think like a border agent would be on here, a TSA agent,
Yes.
a store security guard, an airline pilot. That would be. Those are all less stressful than a disc jockey.
Than doing this.
Captain of a boat, a drive-through worker, all less than a disc jockey. How hard is it to be a disc jockey?
Well, they got to spin the tunes, get the right records.
They don't
keep
spin.
the
still records.
There
Still
aren't any records
They
anymore.
push the
In most
button,
cases,
push
I'm
the
not
button.
going to say which station is part of our umbrella or other umbrellas.
Yes.
The jocks, they
They don't
tape
do
it.
anything.
They tape it.
It's called.
It's all automated.
It's called voice tracking.
It's
They
all
go-
yeah.
they
It's
go
all
into-
automated.
They go into
or
a
just-
studio and just voice
Yeah.
track and
Dude.
plug it into the computer,
Yeah.
and they're done.
Like on one of the stations, March 15th show's already in a can.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
true.
Well, we
It
had
is
with,
true.
with Christmas music starting in mid-July, so on one station.
All
so,
voice track.
All just
All voice
right
track.
there.
Yep. Yeah, it's all done. They just plug
And
it
these
in the
DJs
computer.
think they have a tough job.
Yeah, I know.
How hard is it? You can and if you mess up, you can just redo it.
Take two.
Hey, that's Bruce Springsteen,
Hey.
born in the U.S. Yeah, no, there. Let's do it again.
Yeah,
That's Bruce Springsteen,
Springsteen.
born in the USA.
Yeah.
Now on
Whatever.
WMMR,
Yeah.
You wonder how much actual live morning. They're like probably the morning radio. There's actually live, going to and from, but still,
morning. Yeah.
yeah, morning. That's about it. And then
But if
after
they
that-
don't, if they oversleep, they walk in at 5:55 for 6 o'clock, and they don't have their bits or
No.
whatever. They just play another song.
That's it.
How hard is that?
Oh, that's great.
There are people who
You can't call in to a radio station
1 minute.
and ask for them to play a
No,
song,
you
right?
don't.
No
Not
way.
anymore.
Oh, we'll get that right on.
yeah, no, not anymore.
Well, let me see if on the voice track if it's in there. Oh, I'll get it on.
That request line. Yeah, sure.
I have people who think that we just do 3 hours and that's it. That we just walk in the door and the microphone's open and we yap and then we leave. That's it. They think that's
And there are
our
some people
job.
that listen to us and have been listening for a long time. Agree. I
would
think that
agree
because
with
would agree with that. These guys are terrible.
That's what we keep
Don't
on their
listen.
toes.
That's the best thing. I could care less. If you don't like the show, don't listen.
Yeah.
We have 7 million people in the
Yeah.
valley. We're okay.
And if
We'll
you-
be all right.
and
We've
if-
been doing it 18 years.
And if you complain, we appreciate you listening.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
the best is shoot me an email that you hate the show or you hate me. Good.
Yeah,
I'll respond.
I'm good with that.
Oh, well,
I
hey,
get
on a
those all the
serious
time.
note, we're going to talk about Mike Leach.
Yes.
And Pac-12's Yogi Roth is going to join us. If you read our, here's the difference. Like, if, Manuch wrote this out, it said, we're talking about Mike Leach and the Pac-12's Roth, plus
Yogi Roth.
Yogi Roth.
Did I hit a-
Roth.
a Roth. Stay right there prior to Yogi coming on. So you can't read any of his teases. We're coming back with
pretty
Yogi
good.
Roth next. And by the way, when he comes on,
Yes.
we are going to play something right before he comes on. It was a question that was asked to Mike Leach when he was at Washington State. Who would he take in a fight among Pac-12 mascots? We're going to play that coming up. And don't forget an opportunity to challenge one of the Twin Peaks girls at 2:45. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B.
Clear.
This is what's trending on Fox Sports 910 Phoenix.
Devin Booker has been upgraded to questionable as he continues to go through his hamstring injury. The Suns will take on the Clippers tonight. Campaign is out. Chris Paul earned his bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies from Winston.
Train 'em.
And I let him know we're going to play this.
Good. He knows, right? You let him know. Thank you.
Time to catch up with one of the experts who you can see and hear.
I can listen to this clip all day, too. We play
It's
it the other day
awesome,
on the
isn't it?
show.
Yeah, it's great.
so good.
I know it's
on the
long,
Roc
but it
and
was worth
Manuch
it.
Show
It's
on
great.
It's so funny.
Sports 910.
Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that. I'm going to say the Wildcat's out. The Trojan, does he have a horse or is he on foot? Does he have a bow and arrow or just his sword? The Bruin, definitely formidable. Another bear up there at Cal. The tree, I imagine that tree's going to get chopped down, unless we're going to go with the bird and somebody might get pecked or something. I don't know. And then the duck might lose interest and just fly away and get out of there, which may be good advice under the circumstances. The husky, no chance. The beaver, we'll see how long that beaver can hold his breath. The ute, again, we're back to, is he on horseback? Does he have a bow and arrow? Did he trade for a rifle? I mean, because if that ute's got a rifle, there's some definite problems. You'd have to get one of those Harry Potter activists to read up on how you kill a Sun Devil, because there's a lot of outside stuff there. Just as far as a beast alone, a buffalo's going to be pretty hard to tangle with. I mean, a buffalo's utterly outstanding. Well, but Butch is going to have to be clear-minded and crafty. I mean, Butch will find a way. There's no
10
question.
seconds or less.
Find a way. Clear-minded and crafty, a combination of stay out of harm's way and attack when you get your chances or your opening.
One of the best. 3-4 years ago, Mike Leach there attempting to answer one of life's toughest questions. Who would you take in a fight among the Pac-12 mascots? He's going to be truly missed. And joining us now from the Pac-12 Network to talk about the memories he has with Mike Leach is our good friend Yogi Roth. How you doing, Yogi? Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Thanks for having me. Great to hear your voice. It's been too long.
It's been great, and we appreciate you taking some time. And I have a few stories with Mike Leach when I was, or I have been with the Fiesta Bowl and Insight Bowl, but I know you covered him for quite some time. And is there something that stands out in your mind that you would like to share with us?
Oh my God. Yeah, there's so much to say. And Coach Leach, you guys know the deal. I think when I think of him, I really think of like my phone ringing at 1 a.m. very consistently, and it's him on the other line. And we would just talk for hours, man. Like, we talk everything but football. We talk politics. We talk religion. We talk travel. We talk food. We talk life. Every time we were on the phone, like it was never about football. And that was really enjoyable to me, because I think looking back on him now, I really define him as not only curious, but a true seeker of knowledge and experiences. And, I read a quote from him after he passed away. There was something along the lines of, man, I wish I had more time to just do more things. And I think that was him. Like, even though he was a head football coach, which we've seen so many where that just encompasses your life and everything around your life, he was the other way. He'd cruising to work at 1 p.m, and he'd leave at 2 and 3 a.m, and that's when he would call me on his walk home. But he also, I don't think he ever took it too serious. And I think at times in the football world, it was like, oh, he's not the grinder that everybody else is. And all the coaches I talked to over the years were like so envious that he was so confident that he trusted what he felt was appropriate and the right thing to do football wise, and also balance it. I remember he called me. He goes, "Hey, I'm going to Israel. You want to come?" And I said, "Sure." He goes, "All right, we leave in a week." I said, "Coach, I got 2 kids. Like, I can't leave in a week." But that was him. Like, always just kind of seeking and chomping at the bit. I went to Key West last spring, and he gave me a whole list of things to do, and he's calling me the whole time. He's coaching a football team. He got a spring game or whatever he was doing at the time. And he's just awesome. And I'll be honest, man, the last month and a half, I've been thinking about him. And I was like, I got to call him. And when I saw he was sick, I texted him and I said, you need to call me, get better. We need to talk. And the next day he passed away. And, it's cliche, man, but it really hit me hard of, God, if you want to say hi to somebody, if you have something to say, if you're thinking about them, just take the few minutes. and call him, because I'll wish the rest of my life I had one more 1 a.m. phone call with Mike Leach.
Yeah, Yogi, it's interesting. Last night, knowing you're coming on the show, I pulled up a lot of the stuff you've done, Pac-12 Network, with Mike Leach, and I didn't realize the guy walked to work, he walked home when he was at Wazoo, and then the class this story you did that he and the senator did on air raid and insurgencies, an actual class at Washington State. Could you kind of enlighten our listeners about that class with the state senator and Mike Leach teaching air raid and insurgency combo?
Oh my gosh, it was all time. So I saw a tweet go out in like January, like, who would go to this class? There were 50,000 people responded. And I called my boss like the next morning, and I'm like, hey, can I do a feature on Mike Leach in his first class? And he said, sure, let's make it happen, of course. So I flew up to Pullman, and it was so amazing because I got to be around a team a lot. So I walked into a team meeting. I sat in on a meeting and watched Coach Leach walk in and address the team. And then I sat in class, and I watched him walk in and assess the class. And his demeanor didn't change. Like, he didn't have that kind of like fire or brimstone approach to him. He kind of had like, all right, this is what it is. Like, I'm going to teach you something. You're going to go kick butt if you want to do it. And if you don't, then you're probably not going to be on this team, or you're not going to be part of this class. And you want to have a great experience. And away he went. And it was amazing. He walks into the class. He gets a marker, walks over to the whiteboard, and he just writes up air raid. Like it was yesterday. And he goes, okay, everybody, the air raid. And he just starts on what it is and how it started and how the goal is to maximize space and make it simple. And then up comes the professor talking about insurgent warfare as a former member of the military. And he goes, well, we're not comparing football to war, but there's a lot of similarities. Let me take you through it. And they just played back and forth throughout the night and throughout the course. And to look at 18, 19, 20-year-old young men and women in college who were just in awe of Coach Leach sit there. I mean, there were moments they'll never forget. And just being a fly on that wall was amazing. And then that night, of course, it didn't end until 3 in the morning with me and Leach. Went to a local establishment, had a great time. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, Coach, you can't walk into this bar. And we went to like a club in Pullman. There's like one club. I go, Coach, what are you doing here? He goes, oh, it's fine. Everybody taking selfies with them, giving them drinks. And that was just him. He was a man of the people, man. It was so normal.
You know, Rogue, yeah, I love the story that Lincoln Riley talked about. I guess he was an assistant, was it at Texas Tech or wherever. So Lincoln Riley's in his office doing a bunch of homework, getting ready for the next game. And in comes Coach, and Coach phone rings. And his cell phone, he picks it up and says, who's this? And they said he's talking for like a half hour. And basically the call dropped. They called him back. He continued calling. So Lincoln Riley asked him, Coach, who is that? It sounded like a pretty important phone call. He goes, I don't know. It's a wrong number. So we just started talking about life. Yogi, I laughed. And Lincoln Riley said, that's when I knew this guy was special.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So Dave Emmerich is, if you don't follow him, do that. He's the chief of staff at SC. He's been with Leach for, every stop he's been on. And he's kicking out a couple tweets a day of just like these random stories just like that. and they wouldn't be believable unless they came from the people that were so close to him.
Yeah.
And there's just so many. And I really believe, like, when he was alive, when you said air raid, a lot of times the thought, of course, you think about Mike Leach, but you'd also criticize it. Say, nobody wins with the air raid. And, I've heard a lot of coaches say that over the years. And I think it's, relatively ignorant to what the air raid has done to all levels of football, including the NFL, including Super Bowl winning teams, and including route concepts of teams that will win a national title. And I think now that he's no longer with us, I really feel like not only the stories will grow, but the legend of Mike Leach will take on a life of its own from an exo standpoint, football implementation standpoint, but also the personality of him. And I love that. I think he'll be the one person that everyone will have stories about for countless hours, days, years. And I can't wait to just keep hearing more of them and sharing some of my own.
Yogi, it's interesting because the air raid was conceived at Iowa Wesleyan College. When he was there just starting out as an assistant coach, they started to put that air raid offense together, and that's where it all began. And then he just worked on it, and carried it wherever he would go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And, it's been fun getting to know like Lincoln or Graham Harrell and Jake Spavital. Like, guys that have come off the street, Clay McGuire on the offensive line, and nobody runs it like Mike did. Mike was a purist. So much so that I think sometimes it even hurt him. Like, he would never
3
run the
minutes.
ball, right? And Graham would say, like, hey, when I was a quarterback and you're getting teed off on, like, they're like, Coach, I need to run the ball a little bit. He'd be like, nope, throw it again. Throw it again. And so he was a total purist. But to see guys take, and every air raid coach says it to me when I say, you define it for me. They all say it's a philosophy, not a scheme. And it's a philosophy based on attacking, being aggressive, making it simple so young players can play and play fast. Attacking and continue to attack the same weakness if defenses don't adjust. And as they often say, just throwing it to the open guy. And I love that for the game, because I think the air raid, it's been so impactful that it's allowing more players to play and play well. Like, you guys know, you've been around the game. All too often, I think, and we did this when I was at SC, the offense was the West Coast offense. It was so intricate. You almost took pride in, like, it was such a grind to learn it for young players. You got to figure this out, man. It's going to take you some time, but when you do, you'll kill it. And I think that's kind of dissipating to a large degree because of Mike Leach. And it's like, hey, if you're a baller, come on in and involve. Like, just go do it. And here's the way you do it. And here's how you can understand what we're doing. And we'll add layers to it as you gain experience. But I think his approach and how everybody has taken that approach and made it their own is allowing more players to live up to their potential versus maybe get buried or lose their confidence because it's a challenge to learn somebody else's intricate scheme.
Yogi, thank you, as always, for making some time for us and sharing some of your memories with Mike Leach. And we look forward to catching up with you here maybe in the next week, and we can actually talk some football and talk about the Pac-12 and the Bowls. So thank you so much for some time.
Yeah, totally. Talk about Arizona State. Fired up for them.
Absolutely. That's Yogi Roth joining us. Nice enough to talk to us today here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. I'll tell you, in 2006, I was a team liaison for Minnesota. They were playing Texas Tech in the Insight Bowl. And there's 3 of us that are what we call team liaisons that spend the time with the team for a week. And then there's 3 on the other team. And typically you make a wager, a friendly wager on, hey, if so-and-so wins, we'll take you to lunch for some drinks. We'll go to Twin Peaks, whatever. Yeah. Well, anyway, Minnesota was up 35-7 at half. Okay, 37-5. Or excuse me, 35-7. 35-7. Well, we're looking on across the way, and the guys are not like, we know we won. We won that bet. We're going to go to Twin Peaks, grab some drinks, whatever, and we win the bet. Well, one of the guys, a friend of ours, was friends with both sides. Buddy, me and a guy on the other team, a team liaison, and he for some reason he goes, hey, those guys want to double down, and they want to bet you dinner at Mastro's.
Ooh.
We're like, yeah,
all right.
We're in.
Yeah.
We're going to take that.
Yeah.
Sure enough, biggest comeback in bowl history. Minnesota sports, spot them 31 points. Texas Tech rallies and wins 44-41 in overtime.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, no, we just lost to the other team to go to Mastro's. Well, in the post-game press conference, someone asked Mike Leach, what was it about this comeback? What was the need? Well, what did you do? And, and he comes up, he says something along the lines, I didn't want to let my team liaisons down because they had a bet with the Minnesota team liaisons.
Man, you are kidding me.
John Junker, who's running the bowl, is like,
yeah.
Really? Oh, you're not allowed to do that, And sure enough, we did go to Mastro's, and we took care of our bet. But it was so cool that Mike Leach mentioned that one of the first things asked. I didn't want to let down my team liaisons. I didn't want to lose the bet. He didn't know the bet was Mastro's, but he knew there was a bet.
That's classic.
Anyway, we'll continue on. We need someone to compete against our Twin Peaks girl, 602-260-9191, 260-9191. First one in, you're in, and you're going to compete. 3 games, $25 Twin Peaks gift card. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B. Oh!
are the essential ingredient to the perfect lodge experience. Each week, our girl next door Twin Peaks contestant takes on a Fox Sports 910 listener for 3 games. Get the most picks right and win a $25 man card for one of the 4 Valley Twin Peaks locations: Scottsdale, Phoenix, Glendale, and Tempe. Don't forget man-sized Coors Light draft specials every Thursday at Twin Peaks.
Dear.
Time for Peaks Picks.
Well, this is going to be a little tough, I think, for Tommy and Gilbert. Our guest today, Brenna, is pre-med at ASU. We haven't had a pre-med contestant in a long time, maybe never in the 15 years or however long we've been doing this. So let's dive right to it. All right, we got 3 games, 49ers and Seahawks, Dolphins and Bills, and then the Cardinals, Broncos will need to score. So we'll start with the first game. 49ers are in Seattle to play the Seahawks. You saw the guy you were sitting next to. He's got the Seahawks shirt on.
Yeah, I saw that.
The game's on tonight here at Twin Peaks. Who do you like in this one?
I do like the Seahawks more, but I gotta say, I think that the 49ers are gonna win. I think that they've been having a really good season. I know they're 9-4 and the Seahawks are 7-6. So I'm gonna say the 49ers are probably gonna take this one.
That's a first.
Wow.
I mean, we have some pretty talented young ladies that have been joining us from year to year and week to week. No one ever gives out records. That's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, Tommy and Gilbert, you got your work cut out for you today. Who do you like between the 49ers and Seahawks?
I'm a 49er fan, so I'm going 49ers.
Going 49ers. All right.
The second game, Dolphins at the Bills, be in Buffalo. So Miami going to Buffalo. Bills are starting to get back on track. Tua struggled a little bit. Who you got in this game?
I'm going to go with the Dolphins for this one. I know that this one's kind of a toss-up for me. I think that they both have had some good moments in the season and some bad moments, but I want to say that the Dolphins are really starting to show out.
Okay.
Go with the Dolphins.
All right. Well, Tommy, who do you got? She's breaking it down here for you, Tommy.
Yeah, so Tua's not going to be playing in cold weather and doesn't know how, so I'm going Buffalo.
Touche. All right, we need to score in this one. The Cardinals are in Denver to take on the Broncos. So who do you think's going to win this, and what do you think the score is going to be?
Okay, this is tough because I just had my last week for fantasy. Wilson did so good for me. He got like 25 points, and then I had someone else on the Broncos as well. Oh, Judy. He did so good. So I think that they're going to kill it this week too. I'm going to go Broncos.
Go Broncos. What's the score going to be?
Okay. Let's see. I think it's going to be 35-21.
Ooh, look at you.
Big score.
Russell Wilson's going to be cooking, too.
All right. Yeah. All right. What's he going to be there, Tommy?
Well, what I didn't tell you was I'm into numbers and finances, so Broncos are going to win 24-17.
24-17. All right, Tommy. Hey, thanks for playing. Thanks for listening, man. We appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Tommy.
You got to thank you, man. Pre-med brought it.
You over there, Brenna.
Brenna, what time's happy hour?
3 to 6 and then 10 to close. Come in, $2 off of all man-sized beers and well drinks.
Coors Light, Blue Moon, of course, is our special today. And every Thursday at all 4 locations. When are you typically here if someone is thinking about getting into pre-med and wants to get some advice? Or some fantasy advice?
No kidding. Some football advice.
I've got tons of free advice, guys. I'm here pretty much most mornings during the week and then the night during the weekends.
So come in for lunch possibly and then weekends.
Yes. I'll give you all the football advice. I got you guys.
All right, good stuff, Brenna. Good luck to you in school
Brenna.
as well.
You're
Thanks for playing. Appreciate that. That's Brenna from Twin Peaks. Tommy Gilbert, good job there. Appreciate it. Hey, what's on tap tonight? Suns and Clippers at 8:30 on the NBA TV network and Valley Sports Arizona. But, of course, it's Amazon and the NFL with the 49ers and the Seahawks as the 49ers can clinch the NFC West division with a win over them tonight. Brock Purdy, who helped, of course, San Francisco extend this winning streak to 6 games last week as he routed Tom Brady and the Bucs. He threw 2 touchdown passes, ran for another score in his first career start. He's going to be under center tonight because, of course, the 49ers lost Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo to injuries. They're now 9-4 on the year, 2 games ahead of the Seahawks with 4 to play. But, again, a win would clinch the 49ers' first division crown in 2 years.
Let's go, Brock.
Yeah, 2019.
Let's go, Brock. Let's go get it done. He's got the sore ribs and a little oblique hurting, but he's going to be playing. He will be
What's on
starting.
tap is powered every day right here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B by America's leading home selling network, 72 Sold. Go to 72sold.com and get your price a higher price. 72 Sold. Coming up, Rick Coro, Sports Professor, and who let the dogs out?
Clear.
Call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And always online at lernerandrow.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy
You're live.
on Fox Sports 910.
Just after 3 o'clock, Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B from Twin Peaks in Phoenix, right off of Camelback. And it's good to see our future with young ladies and young men that want to get in the medical field. And it was good to see and hear that our Twin Peaks gal,
Brenna,
who is bartending as she goes to college, which is smart. I did the same thing, bartended in college, and helped me get to where I am today.
Yeah.
And,
working with two great guys.
Exactly.
The stories you can tell.
That's why, yeah.
The
Good to have-
stories you could tell.
It's good to have some bookends. Yeah, that's good to see. Good to hear. And, you talk to a lot of physicians and people in the business, and it just – our world needs more physicians, more nurses, more doctors, more, just first responders, the whole 9 yards. It's tough.
And
but,
she wants to get into oncology. She wants to be a doctor for oncology. I said,
great.
I hope you're there when they discover the cure for cancer. We've all lost friends and family members to cancer. And let's just hope that happens here in our lifetime.
I hate to bring this up, but I was playing golf the other day with a physician and knew the Manucci family really well.
Yes.
Your sister's doctor just happened to be. He's like, oh, he goes, what do you do? And I go, I do radio and I do this and that. And he's like, yeah, when are you on? I go, Fox Sports 910. He's like, oh, Roc and Manuch, you're Roc. I said, yeah, it's because it was Mike on the scoreboard or on the scorecard, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I know the Manucci family. And it's like, how the heck would this guy? And he was great.
Well, it's because my sister Diane is one of our biggest fans.
Exactly.
The whole Manucci family, as well as the Morocco family. So
good stuff.
She's not bashful to share Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
I appreciate that.
Let's get to the top stories this hour. And they are brought to you by...
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
Well, it's still the Cardinals. Kyler Murray out. Rondell Moore out. They're now on the IR. But, of course, the story that hit late last night in that the Cardinals announced that their general manager, Steve Keim, has stepped away from his duties. It's indefinite. It is health-related. It's a leave of absence. And citing the law, they are keeping it private, which is fine. We all understand that. There's been some talk on national television, like the NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, who had some details. Granted, they were vague, but said that this is what he said, that it's a situation that has been developing really over the course of the last several weeks and several months.
Interesting.
So something that he also indicated that the return to the Cards is not only does it not have a timeline, but it may not happen at all.
So that's interesting. And so you got Quentin Harris and you got Adrian Wilson are pretty much picking up the ball,
That's correct.
co-GMing at this time. So those guys, we just hope that Steve, whatever the scenario is or situation is, God bless him, good luck, and hopefully all that comes together for him, for his health, and all the scenarios that are surrounding that, and his family is on top of that. So,
and he's been with the Cardinals since 1999. He started as a scout. He worked his way up to become a general manager.
Yeah.
And say what you want, if he's done a good job or a bad job. I mean, I think it's been a roller coaster ride. There's been some high picks that have done well, and there's been some high picks that have not done well. You do wonder, because of the lack of success this team has had, that there was going to be a change, both at general manager position and at head coach, and we will find that out here sooner than later, I'm sure, in about 4 or 5 weeks. Sean Payton is out there. Sean Payton, who has known the organization for a long time. He was a ball boy for the Cardinals many, many years ago in St. Louis. He's been a big fan, I'm sure a friend of the family, and could be the right fit for the Cardinals if they go that route. Not saying that could happen, but I mean, I think there are some advantages to Sean Payton taking a position with the Cardinals. The guy loves to golf, loves short quarterbacks, Jimmy, and maybe take over and make a difference if and when a Kyler Murray could come back.
Drew Brees was at least 6 foot. We'll just put it that way. It wasn't 5'10", or Jimmy in your case 5'5". So we know
I'm
that
not
for
5'5".
sure.
I'm taller than that.
Here's
Drew Brees just barely is 6 feet.
Here's the thing.
He was. Yeah, it was born. That was he was wearing Skechers, so it made a game about a half inch.
I think what you're alluding to there, Rock, is somebody that knows the game of football, knows how to manage a game from a coaching standpoint. As far as a general manager standpoint, a guy that's been part of. You look at the building, literally the building of the Saints to become that Super Bowl contender, Super Bowl team, and if not for a couple of really bad officiating or lack of officiating calls, might have gone to another Super Bowl. So he knows what success looks like. He knows how to make a team successful if they do go down that road. And he just shows Cliff Kingsbury came in, had no idea from a National Football League what it takes. He knows how to run an offense, but not against an NFL defenses. And from the general manager standpoint, Steve Keim has been there. But I quite frankly think the cons outweigh the pros. You always look at the pros and the cons.
Right.
But I mean, when you have a guy like a Peyton, he saw the foundation up to what it cost to sustain that foundation and to win a Super Bowl from start to finish. So I think that if there's any changes to be made, he'd be right there at the top of my list. Now, whether they'd want him to do both would be very difficult in today's football. But if you bring somebody alongside of him that they're on the same page and they share the same philosophies, and then on top of that, the evaluation of talent. You got to look at your scouting department. You got to look at all other kind of things that are involved with that. Are we going and getting the right players? Are we looking at the right things when you evaluate this Arizona Cardinals roster from start to finish?
Phoenix Suns tonight are in LA to face the Clippers. They are in an absolute free fall. They've lost 5 games in a row, and injuries have really hurt this team. Looks as though Devin Booker will go tonight, at least according to some reports. So we'll see if that happens or not. DeAndre Ayton is out, but here they are facing a Clippers team that has won 3 in a row. Now, the only saving grace the Suns could have tonight is the Clippers are on a back-to-back.
Yes,
so they're going to probably rest some of their players,
possibly.
Kawhi
Leonard
being one of them.
Yes.
So that's something to look at tonight.
Load management, Jimmy? Is that what they call that?
I just hate that.
You got to be kidding
me. But he is coming back from that knee, so he generally does not play back-to-backs.
I get to understand that. So so with a campaign out and DA out, Book back to get some of those points. And Mikal Bridges, got to get him back on track. Got to mix in some shots.
If you are looking to place a bet on this game, the odds, Phoenix plus 1.5. The over-under is 218, just over 218. And I will tell you, if you are into over-unders, it's worth noting that the total is there's a 5-0 run to the under in this series. 5-0 run to the under, 218.5.
Interesting.
You would think, Jimmy, that if they were healthy,
yes,
I would think with both these teams playing,
I'd look at the over.
I would look at the over.
Yeah.
First one to 135, but this one, the way that you got so many players for the Clippers out, and you got so many players for the Suns, key players. I don't know, first one to 112 to 110.
And they can't score.
And that's it right there. So I'd look at the under, most definitely.
On a national level, the NCAA has named their new president. It will be Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker, who will take over the position from current President Mark Emmert on March 1st. Baker is in his second term as the governor of Massachusetts. He's a Republican. His tenure will end on January 5th. So he is going to take over. He's a former collegiate athlete at Harvard, so he's got that background. We're going to catch up with Rick Horrow here live at the Twin Peaks in Phoenix. He's also a Harvard guy. He's a business specialist. We call him the sports professor, or everybody calls him the sports professor. We'll get his thoughts on what's next for the NCAA and what it means for a politician to take over the reins of the NCAA.
You know, and you think of all the things he's going to be diving into. That pool is going to be a large pool of NIL, teams moving from conference to conference,
playoffs,
contracts, TV contracts, all the above. And then the NCAA is as far as basketball, that's all well and good. But I think the football will be the driving force for him to just get his hands around and understand what he has and what he doesn't have. And on top of that, all the other sanctions that he's going to have to deal with or oversee or get caught up to speed, like the ASU situation with their recruiting.
You know, I'm real interested to see how this is going to play out. I was shocked when it was announced that this was the guy, and with little or really no real foresight into how difficult it is to be in a college football atmosphere.
Or Jimmy, the strategy to hire him.
Yes.
That's always curious for me. What's your strategy hiring a politician?
Well,
where
I'll
do you
tell
go
you.
here?
So according to Nicole Albach, she's with The Athletic.
Right. Yep.
She said, quote, those that were involved in the search, now he's 66 years old, said, quote, uniquely suited to the NCAA's present needs thanks to his record of successfully forging bipartisan solutions to complex problems.
Okay.
Well,
that's important, that bipartisan solutions,
But
I think is what you want to see.
What's politically going to be needed from the NCAA to move forward?
These lawmakers are involved. The lawmakers are involved in everything in college athletics.
They are.
I mean, can we keep them out of it?
Yeah.
Well, do you need these senators creating these college athlete bills of rights, and there's just all these different types of politicians that are putting their nose in the NCAA.
Case in point, look at with UCLA, they're going to be allowed to leave by the Board of Regents and all the above, but with a caveat that they're going to have to help, I think, $2 to $10 million a year to Cal Berkeley as they go out the door. So you can leave in 2024.
Yes.
But you're going to owe Cal Berkeley for the next 5 years anywhere from $2 to $10 million.
Correct.
That's a whole political scenario right there in itself.
That's it. And that's how UCLA was able to escape.
You're allowed to leave state-run school, but here's the caveat. USC, I don't think they're going to have to.
Oh, no, they're a private school.
Private institution.
Hey, if you are looking for a new backyard patio grill, well, your chance to win one is right now. Just text Peaks to 55678. That's Peaks to 55678. You'll be entered to win this customized backyard grill patio set, which is courtesy of Twin Peaks, where we're at today, Blue Moon and Coors Light. You can enter once a day. Standard message and data rates do apply. Well, it's all about the dogs. Our underdog picks of the week are next. We're live from the Twin Peaks in Phoenix, and it'll be brought to you by the new sports book in the CAZ Sports Bar at Casino, Arizona. This is Fox Sports 910.
favorites because they can't get their head around backing an underdog. Not Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. They're all about the dogs. Time now for the guys' dog picks of the week on Fox Sports 910.
Before we get to that, got to tell you about Shaq's Funhouse coming to Talking Stick Resort with Snoop Dogg and DJ Diesel. That's Shaq. That's coming to Talking Stick Resort on Friday, February 10th. That's Super Bowl weekend. And I will tell you right now, pre-sale tickets are on sale. The actual sale is tomorrow, but this is Shaq's Funhouse. It's a larger-than-life adult wonderland with these guys going to town. Ferris wheel, bumper cars, carnival games, and, of course, Shaq and Snoop doing their thing. And right now, if you go to shacksfunhouse.com, they got general admission, they got VIP, and VIP tables can be purchased right now. So you're finding this out before anybody else. They got VIP tickets, like I said. So check it out. Open bar. I mean, it's a really big deal. And this is big that it's going to be a Talking Stick Resort. So if you are interested, go to shacksfunhouse.com.
And if you don't think Shaq can throw it down on the dance floor, just go back and look at the video clip when he was dancing with Jabberwocky.
Who's that? NBA. Jabberwocky?
Yeah, those are the guys with the white
With
mask
the
on.
mask
Remember
on,
at the All-Star game when it was in Phoenix?
Yeah, they do all the
the sports professor, Rick Horo, just joined, but he's going to have to wait. He came in with our sign. He stole our sign. We should call the police right now. Security. Stole our sign.
Security.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get to our picks. Let's get started, Rich.
Let's start with the guy who grew up playing tennis, and his dog Guinness beat him last year in the fan pickup.
Hey, guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Rock, you got a lock?
All right, real quick. Last week we went 4-0 as a group. I'm 10-4 overall. Manuch is 8-5. Jimmy is 500. Ben and Richie combined are 10-4, and Jax, he had a bye week, but he's 4-9. Much needed bye week. But I'm this week I'm going to go with Tampa Bay getting the 3.5 at home against Cincinnati. So I'll get that. So I'm going Tampa Bay 3.5. Manuch?
All right, I'm going to go.
Manuch, you played the game, so this should be a no-brainer.
They're all my dogs.
Give us your dog of the week.
It's the Cowboys are going to visit Jacksonville. They're a 4-point favorite. I'm going to go Jacksonville, especially after Trevor Lawrence lit it up. He's starting to feel it at Jacksonville. I think that Jacksonville will get some nice wins here at the very end, and the Cowboys struggle on the road. So I'm going Jacksonville.
Okay.
Finally, he's not Jimmy the Greek, but he's been calling the game for over 40 years.
What about the dogs?
Jimmy B, what's your underdog pick of the week?
Well, I'm doing the weather game because this monster storm is blowing through the Midwest and then into the Northeast. And Chicago is going to just get dumped on. And it's going to be a howling wind coming off the lake. So the Bears are at home, and they are getting 8.5 against the high-flying Eagles. Well, it's hard to be high-flying when the wind is howling at 40 miles an hour.
Sanders is going to run the heck out of the ball, man.
So the point that I'm going to make here is I'm getting 8.5. Funny things happen when you play in weather games. Manuch, you can vouch for that. The ball is slippery. People who normally never fumble. Passes get tipped. Passes get intercepted. I believe the Eagles win, but I'm taking the Bears to keep it relatively close, and they cover the 8.5.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right, Richie, what you going with today?
I would just like to point out in my previous 2 appearances on this very segment, I am 2-0. So I have Ben all season long. He's 10-4 because of me.
Okay.
So you're welcome, Ben. So I'm taking my lock of the week because I'm already 2-0. I'm going to Washington, and I am taking the New York Football Giants plus 4.5 on the road. They just came off of a tie against the same Washington team a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And the Giants are 9-4 against the spread this year. So if you're looking to make some money this weekend, you got to go with Richie. 2-0, baby. Go to 3-0 this weekend. Come on.
All right, Richie Rich. All right, we're going with it.
Big head now.
Giants 4.5. All right, Jax.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with the Ravens plus 3.5 at Browns. I don't think the Browns are playing their best right now. I think they're trying to get things going with Deshaun Watson. I don't like it. I think the Ravens with the Bengals clipping out their heels to win the division. I'm going to go Ravens +3.
Huntley going to be the quarterback this week,
He
or is
will
going to
be
be
back.
Brown,
He will be back.
the third or fourth string quarterback there with the Ravens?
No, he will be back.
It's Huntley.
He'll be back.
Really.
But their defense is really good. I think they win this game.
All right, so those are our picks, our underdog picks. We do it every week here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Let's get to our Learner in a Row. One call, that's all. Interact, need a check, make one call. That's all, 602-977-1900. And always at learnerandrow.com. They can help, and if you need a free consultation, they'll take care of it. Again, one call, that's all, 602-977-1900.
He wants to come back, talking to him last night, bigger, stronger, faster than ever. And I think, Joe Burrow and what he's been able to do coming back from his is encouraging for Kyler. And so, like I said, he's definitely up for the challenge, talking to him last night.
There you have it. That's Cliff Kingsbury talking about Kyler using Joe Burrow's recovery as some inspiration. How about that?
Well, but he's a different quarterback. You got Kyler running around all over the place. For Joe, he's just kind of a pocket guy. He can run. He can run when he needs to. Hey, let's get to our State 40 where we get your call question today. What kind of quarterback would you choose for the Cardinals now that Murray may be out for a year or more? Just go to Roc and Manuch. Put your vote in. Here's your options: a top free agent starter, a top free agent backup, a mid-round draft choice, or leave it as it is for now. The leader in the clubhouse for now, 50%. Leave it as it is for now. Second, a top free agent starter. And third, a top free agent quarterback at 12.5%. Nobody voting for a mid-round draft choice as of now. So it's kind of, you think about it. Okay,
no, you don't. It's a bad question.
You can't leave it as for now.
Wasn't it better? You've done better, Manuch.
I just thought it was a little,
I mean, we can't do anything until season's over.
It's okay. We're thinking about the season. We're not talking right now. We're talking when the season's over. What do you want to see, man?
We won't know. We won't even know who's available. I mean, we went through the list earlier.
You can. Here's the thing. Whatever's out there for the fandom out there. Okay, what would you prefer to see? Now, if you leave it as for now, you're going to have Colt McCoy, Trace McSorley, David Blau, and Carson Strong.
That's it. Right. Well, we'll talk about that in February. All right, coming up, he's the sports professor on location here at Twin Peaks. It's interesting is we've only had him on location a few times over the course of like the last 15 years. Seems like it's always Twin Peaks.
Right.
It's his favorite place.
It's the Camelback Twin Peaks.
That's right. Wow. Rick Hoyle will join us next live at Twin Peaks. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910.
the business side of author of the new bestseller, The Sport Business Handbook. Host of Power of Sports and architect of over 100 deals worth billions in sports. The sports professor, Rick Horrow, joins Roc and Manuch on Fox Sports 910.
That's right. Rick Horrow joins us here on location. The sports professor, you always follow him on Twitter at Rick Horrow at the business side of sports. And in honor of his presence, and we've had a long-standing joke that I wasn't able to get him a parking pass for a Fiesta Bowl many years ago.
Many years.
So in lieu of that,
decades ago,
I thought it'd be appropriate to give him a Coyotes parking pass. Parking lot 59 there at ASU. You know, but the hard part now is to get a ticket to the game because they only have 5,000 seats. But hopefully that'll get you through.
Is this for Houston or Phoenix? Oh
no! So there you go. There's his press pass.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. Maybe a decade from now, you get me a parking pass to a bowl game.
I would do that.
I appreciate that.
To certain bowl. I got you. The Garden State Bowl, whatever you need.
Perfect. All perfect. You guys look fantastic. Your faces for radio. I've seen you before.
Obviously, we can't get on your TV show.
Golf. No, the TV show is all filled until September 2028.
Yeah, I figured.
Sorry, but that's okay. But both of you guys, it's like an inspiration to see you guys again. Although I did see the promotional thing out of Twin. So we're
right
Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks, Camelback, Scott said it's a great place. But you look at the caricatures, and I see 13 chins between the two of you.
Not gonna lie.
What is
not
that?
gonna lie.
How many chins are there?
And
Ohio, amazing.
As a pledge in my fraternity at Ohio University, my nickname was Butt Chin. So as a little kid, as a pledge. Well, so, I got a little thing there.
And we used to have 4 heads. Now we got 8 heads.
You got 8 heads.
Couple of Italians.
Chin.
Yeah,
There are jokes about chins, but we're not going to do them on the air.
Hey, Rick, it's olive oil, garlic, and red wine. That's it keeps you young forever. This is kind of an Italian thing we got going on.
But you look. I'm just
18 years
on
we've
the
been
air,
doing this.
off the air. You look good, but your partner looks just stupendous. Looks fantastic.
You're such a schmoozer.
He's a former NFL.
But that's what happens when years and years of rampant inactivity do to you.
Right now,
you think he's like a star football. He's a star couch potato.
But Rick, his head has gotten a little bigger as of late because his star pupil is starting tonight for the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy.
Oh, no.
Who he's been coaching since he was just out of the womb.
I hate you because the Dolphins thought they had a easy win when Jimmy Garoppolo went down.
Yes,
right?
They did. And Brock Purdy came in and basically
amazing.
Schooled him. But you got a Wildcat there at Miami. You got Skylar Thompson.
Yes.
That's right. Kansas State Wildcat.
You're right.
You got a little K-State love in your backyard.
How much potential does he have?
Got a lot of potential. He does.
But you throw him into a Vikings game against that defense, he had no shot.
No.
That was early in the year.
No shot.
And he did play again in mop-up, but, that's not good enough.
But Brock Purdy is wise beyond his years. He's been doing that at Iowa State for 4 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's a surprise for a lot of people, him coming on the scene. Never seen that. So hopefully keep that going against Seattle tonight.
He's your guy?
Yeah, been since 9th grade, been working him. Hey, Rick, I just try not to screw him up, okay?
He's got Perkins, who's a backup for the Rams as well.
Yeah, but I don't care about anybody else.
But
he's finally made the big time.
I know, that's why his head's so big.
You
saw the caricature. Look how big that is.
No, the heads aren't. The chins are the ones
it's
that are big.
The chin.
Let me just kill this. I know.
It's like a Rick Horrow show with Roc and Manuch.
I'm here. No, it's mine. Forget the width. You're not even here. But I will say that no matter what, it's like he's now arrived. Has he already played more minutes in the NFL than you did?
Starting wise,
yeah.
I played a full game against the.
That's not a scab
Colts.
game.
Oh, you scab game?
I played 3 quarters against the Patriots in 1980.
Okay,
and I played 4 quarters against the Colts in a replacement game.
Okay.
Did you really have to ask him this question?
Yeah.
He's going to go on for on and on and on.
I didn't realize
he's on a word count today.
I didn't realize it would be like every
8 quarters in. Okay, so far.
Oh, okay.
He's got about
Brock,
7.
I'm taking the over on Brock.
So far, I think your career's done, pal. Although I will say, if they're in the playoffs, are you going to go see him?
Oh, absolutely. You kidding me?
Good.
Yeah.
We gotta get a break. You want to come back to Phoenix so we can do a show
if
together?
He does, thank God I'll get a word in it. Oh, yeah, maybe not.
Could you imagine if Brock
Yeah.
Purdy leads the Niners to the Super Bowl
Yeah.
here and they plays
That's right.
my Buffalo Bills?
Yeah.
Bills, Niners.
That is possible.
That would be great.
Not only possible, I would say almost probable. Really.
I would agree with that.
When you think
All right,
about
enough of us. All right, let's get into some guts.
So we talk about
The
me.
Rick Horlow show.
No, well, Rick is a
Talk about
sports
me.
professor. Rick has been involved in a lot of business developments here in Arizona. One
Right.
being State Farm,
Yeah.
University of Phoenix Stadium was very instrumental in helping bring that here. And I just want to get your thoughts. Here you are coming back into our
Right.
city. You come in once or twice a year. The growth you have seen.
Amazing.
I mean, talk about the growth, and now we're talking about a new arena with the Coyotes.
Yeah.
What happened with the Coyotes right now in Tempe with Mullet Arena, which is a
Right.
small arena for college. But just your overall take of this city compared to maybe some other cities on the growth.
Because he thinks it's the right thing to do.
Must have a retirement home here because he has
They're
put
all-
his
no.
neck
Yeah,
out.
they're all in Florida.
Okay.
He doesn't like it here. He doesn't like to play golf here because it's too hot.
It's
I
too
guarantee
hot.
you, I
Come
bet
on,
you.
it's
Not
gonna,
today.
It's going to snow today.
It's dry
Today.
heat. It's
I mean,
dry
what-
heat,
what-
Rick.
By the way, what is? It's like 54 degrees now. What
we,
is this?
We heard people were coming in town. Know what it was? Last week we had Celtics, Bruins, and Patriots here.
Oh, that's what
All the Massachusetts
Of course
people were
they
here.
did.
They brought that weather. They
called,
left
and
it
they
here.
left.
And they left it behind.
Yeah.
You know what happens in South Florida when weather's like this? It's perfect. You got to have an umbrella because you know those big ugly green iguanas.
Yes, yeah.
They freeze after the trees and they can't hold on anymore. So you see these iguanas
Are you
just dropping
serious?
from the trees. So you can't
He's
walk
yanking.
under the tree. Now they don't die unless they hit their head. No, how you
You're
can't
yanking
make
our
this
chain.
up.
Are you
I
kidding
swear to
me?
God, look up
So when
frozen
you're
iguanas falling from trees.com.
so when you're watching, when you're
What's
walking,
next?
Look it up. Look it up.
what's
Frozen
next?
iguana.
Flying-
You know what an iguana? You know those big ugly things. When it gets
Lizards.
too cold,
They're
the
lizards.
big
We call them
When
lizards,
it gets
yeah.
too cold, they fall out of trees. They freeze and they fall out of trees. Look it up before
What's
the end
next?
of the show.
Flying pigs out of Florida?
No,
So-
flying pigs out of here.
so when you're
Flying
walking,
pigs out of Kansas State.
when you're walking your dog Duke,
Yeah.
and he sees one of those fall off the tree, do they go after it and chase it?
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate. It would be like easy because they're frozen and they don't know how to get away.
A popsicle out of a tree.
Last week, seriously, I know
Oh,
it's really
my
digressive,
gosh.
but last week Duke's wagging his tail. He's coming back, and he has this rabbit in his mouth, bleeding. and
Come
it's like
on.
he's excited.
Yeah.
And I made him pay. I said, you don't kill rabbits.
No,
man.
I
give
grew up
you-
with rabbits,
I give you
Thumper and Fluffy.
kangaroo food. I give you all this. What are you doing?
You go.
So I made him go into the refrigerator. He get me 3 beers that night as punishment.
You as a Harvard
I love
guy, big news today. Charlie Baker,
Yeah.
the Republican governor of Massachusetts,
Right.
speaking of Massachusetts, takes over. It'll be March of next year as the new president of the NCAA, taking over for Mark Emmert. Your thoughts on the route of the NCAA going with a politician?
Well, the NCAA president has to be a politician no matter what. If he's an official politician, that's a different story. But you have to be a consensus builder. And we'll talk about what he's done and how he did it in a second, because I know we have some different opinions. But as far as Charlie Baker's concerned, look, if you're a Republican governor from Massachusetts, think about that. That's a very Democratic state.
Yeah.
The guy knows how to win. He knows how to generate consensus. Big sports fan. I'm afraid, I hope this is wrong, his leadership will be great. I just hope it's not too late. I don't know what the NCAA, I don't know what's left to lead as far as the NCAA is
Good
concerned.
point.
You got the playoff.
Yep.
All the conferences have the power. But if there was anybody that's capable of doing it, I think it shouldn't be an existing football guy who comes up from the system. Because the guy comes up from the system, conference commissioner, an AD, a coach, he's biased one way or another about what the NCAA has already done. Charlie Baker comes in with a fresh perspective.
I thought it would go down the route of somebody from like an ESPN, ABC, Disney, somebody like that. That
Jeff
would take
Saturday.
over.
Oh
Yeah.
sorry.
No, but someone
he's free.
Close.
He'll be free. He'll be free by the end of the season.
Because you can make a case that networks own college football anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So they can steer it however they want.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Atypically for you, a really good point. But
you just say that because you're here live.
No, I say it
person.
because it's your one decade. Now you're free through the 20s.
We can't get in. So going back to the growth of Phoenix, you're here.
Yeah.
You're probably scouting it out for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
scouting it out.
I went down to the stadium today. I was
Checked it
looking
out.
aroed for dropped or forgotten parking passes because I knew I wasn't going to get any help here. I will say this: Phoenix is a very and maybe it's the wrong thing to say here, but it's a very difficult town for Super Bowls because, as compared to New Orleans, stadiums there, Bourbon Street, everything is in the
New
middle.
Orleans is perfect.
And like Dallas is the same way. You got Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, 3 distinct places. And here, if you want to have a party,
venture out
big, do you do it in Scottsdale? Do you do it in downtown Phoenix because Radio Row is there, the convention center is there, Bob is there, or Chase Field, or you do a stadium? Well, stadium will be a big deal over the weekend, but it's not going to be a big deal of the week of.
That's
and now you
true.
go waste management.
I was just going to say waste management. I mean, we just talked about, one of our great partners, Talking Stick Resort. They just announced that Shaq's Funhouse with Snoop Dogg is going to be there on Friday at Super Bowl. And it's just going to be, but that's Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And, you're right. All the parties are in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're the mayor of Phoenix, are you kind of bummed that all the big parties get pulled out, like the S Side Party and all those other parties are probably going to be somewhere else?
Let's put it this way. If you want a big party in Phoenix, where do you go? Not a whole lot.
You go to Scottsdale.
Scottsdale.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're not going to do it at Glendale Westgate where the stadium is.
No.
And
there's a Kimpton Hotel in right across from the arena in downtown.
And a lot of
not enough.
And it's a nightmare down there.
And a lot of
traffic and the construction, it's bad.
And a lot of the empty land that they used for the Super Bowls prior to is not developed.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of areas you can go to. Like the NFL Experience last time they were here was down. There's a lot of those downtown.
Yeah.
Well, there's high rises there now.
Well, you take the subway. You take the subway. Oh, there is no
subway. That's one thing we missed here.
Damn, man.
We
There's
missed
no subway here.
No subway.
I was looking for
we
one.
have
That's why
we have the
rail.
The rail.
The
But the
rail,
rail doesn't go anywhere.
No,
It doesn't. I mean, it does go into downtown Phoenix.
Yeah,
which
from downtown.
From
It's a
Mesa.
circle.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. A big deal. The problem with the Super Bowl, it's a great event for a tourist destination, and if the weather's okay, you can have all the corporations doing golf tournaments as they normally would. But the big events, and then to get out there and waste management at the same time. Look, I'm not downplaying because the economic impact is tremendous, and it's going to be a wonderful weekend for you all.
Ticket prices right now. I'm trying to buy 2 tickets for a client. Okay, just nosebleed, $8,000 a piece.
Wow. Okay.
And their face is $3,200, I think, is what the players get them for, or whoever.
Right.
But $7-8,000, whatever it is, it's not for fans anymore. It's just not. And I remember when it was the year '96, I worked it was Dallas Pittsburgh, and I remember face value was $3,250.
Yeah.
I mean, what a difference! Now you added a couple extra zeros.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if it's ever going to end.
So the question is obviously supply and demand. What drove it this high, Rick? Was there
It's so fast.
Was there a point in the development of the Super Bowl that you went bingo? Was it corporate people outbidding corporate people for tickets?
There were 2 stages. The one was where the NFL severely they didn't cut demand, but there was this whole incentive through the secondary market to focus on corporate. That was 13, 14, 2015.
Okay.
And then the next one, this last year, post-pandemic, last year was an incredible, we're coming back and we're going to do it. And, the face value for the NFL kind of primo seats, not the suites because they give them to the owners and corporate, but the primo seats were $12,500. I've never seen a $12,500 face value dollar ticket.
Right.
You should see
face value.
Face value. You should see what I had to do to get a ticket for $12,500. You don't want to know what I had to do for $12,500.
It's just
you put them in your book like 3 or 4 times in the newest book,
and the radio show,
and radio and
podcast,
TV,
and vignettes, and jump up and down, and all that kind of stuff.
Bowl games. We know bowl games are big, and they're run with it's very important to have some big sponsors in them. We have 2 bowl games here: the Guaranteed Rate Bowl and the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. 40 is right around the number right now, right? It's about 40.
42, 43.
43. Is there room for a couple more, or
Sure.
do you think is there enough sponsorship dollars to keep these bowls going?
There's enough sponsorship dollars for these one-off companies who will get in, cut a deal with ESPN, have a moment in the sun for 4 hours, and then be gone. And some of them have enough staying power to buy a few ads for the rest of the week. But when you think about it, many of these companies, roofclaim.com, who does the Boca Raton Bowl, it's a Georgia company that does insurance claims for roofs. It's not that big a deal, but for the moment next week, it is a big deal.
I think a lot of people also don't realize that it used to be the local bowls would sell these title sponsors. It's now ESPN.
Right.
They really own it.
Right.
They control it.
Well, ESPN has all the upside. They're the ones that mete out the ads and the times of them. So they're perfectly positioned to sell the title sponsors because they structured with the ads. And now I guess there are 4. The Fox has 2 games, and but not many. And Barstool has the one down in Tucson.
And
but not
the Ohio University Bobcats are playing in it.
Yes, they are.
Against Wyoming Cowboys. Go Bobcats.
And Jimmy Kimmel, they're playing that bowl game on his stomach, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Speaking of the bowl games, in 2 years, we're going to have the 12-team playoff.
Right.
Will that bring a lot of those sponsors you talk about that have been kind of watching college football, bring them off the sideline and go, it explodes as far as they're concerned. How much is that going to enhance not only the college game, but those sponsors are now going, I want a piece of that pie, and you get into some bidding for sponsorships for those 12 playoff teams.
Well, and let's remember the devil's in the details because the 43 bowls, some of them have contract. You mean I got to finish in a minute? Somebody said a minute?
That's a guy in the air. That's Richie back at the iHeartRadio studios.
Hey, listen, I'll get off when I want to get off, okay? Who are the ones that say, I'm here, out of town, you count down, I may or may not get off.
It's called iHeartRadio.
No, that's not exactly what. No, that's not right. It's called we have sponsors that help pay for this. Sports business side of sports.
I forgot.
Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We're visiting with Rick Horrow, the sports professor.
I've just
live
never
from Twin
associated
Peaks.
rock with money before. rock and money have usually been 2 separate things.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
This is The Odd Couple. I check with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker.
The Raiders just farted in everybody's face. And I'm going to tell you this. Mark Davis, I know he won't do it because he doesn't have
with your buddy in his, Bell Park and all of that kind of stuff?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
He rocks the boy. I'm telling you. He's the guy out there. He makes it. Without Rock, that place doesn't run.
Well, I read all the stuff, and then I read more of the stuff, and even more of the stuff, and it's like amazing.
Yeah, he's
in his wheelhouse out there.
Yeah,
and thank you for letting me bring it up, but we just surpassed 4 million people in 10 months.
Okay.
We're ranked 25th in the country when it comes to attendance, Madison Square Garden being number 1.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, and he trains his quarterbacks out there, and 320 acres. It's
Do you get help? Do you get help from the public sector?
No.
You better.
No.
I mean, why don't they? Because look at all the people that
we
bring
need
it into
Visit
town.
Mesa. We need them. They're partners in some capacities.
Have them step up, man. Here's my comment, and you didn't set me up for this, but I will tell you this: after doing this all over the country, and you realize what communities do to promote Little League, other kind of sports, and the families come in and they spend the 4 or 5 days, and the kids come in and play, and these are hotel rooms, these are restaurants, and it's bigger economic impact than the professional games in many ways. And I read a tourism stat that I included in some of my stuff, and youth sports tourism is up 14% year over year, and it's a big deal. So they ought to step up and help you. I don't know why the hell they're not. They ought to stand up and help
I appreciate that. And that wasn't a setup, but that's true. I mean, we've done close to probably 140,000 room nights. It's huge. And we had a soccer tournament 2 weeks ago. We had about 325 teams.
Oh, my gosh.
300 of them for out of state.
Yeah.
Out of 325.
Right.
Somewhere around that. I'm off on the numbers. But that kind of numbers, and every weekend it's full. It's a great facility. We encourage people to come out.
If you ever want me to help you testify to anybody, I'm serious. I'd be glad to talk about how everybody else in the country is doing it, and they ought to help you.
We appreciate that.
Because you're a fine, upstanding individual. You're getting a little older, and you need a little bit more help.
I'm going to send you my marketing deck, see if you want to be a partner of ours.
You already sent me 4 of your marketing decks.
But you haven't seen the new one with the 4 million people.
New one from yesterday.
Yes,
right?
it is. I update it every day.
Yeah, of course you do.
Hey, real quick, finish your thought about the college playoffs. Just real quick.
I'm glad. Because, listen, the playoffs, the devil is in the details. For example, do we know where the Guaranteed Rate Bowl or the Camellia Bowl or any of these bowls fit in? You get a sense that the New Year's Six will fit somewhere relative to you got 4 teams with the bye, but then the higher plays the lower goes to the higher for the first round. So that's on campus. But you still ought to have some of the bowl people sponsor them because that's the ad slots. And what about the bowls that are not part of that playoff? They're relevant, but how does that all shake out? Point is, there will be room for everybody, but it's going to be a total shakeup.
Real quick before I let you out of here, where do you put Phoenix on the grand scale of professional sportsism as a whole?
Wow. I would say in terms of where it's come from in the last few years, it really is number one in the sense that, traditionally, Boston has great years, Chicago has great years, but in terms of building new facilities, mega events, Vegas has made a lot of steps, but they don't have the 4 teams. And my advice to everybody, not just tune in to Roc and Manuch, give them a lot of love because they deserve it. God knows. I mean, they have a lot of faults.
We appreciate
but not that many. But then the other piece of this is protect your assets. You have sports assets as key economic. It's $1 billion a year. So preserve it.
Rick, thank you for making time to join us. We know you're in town and you're taking a red eye to get out of here, but thank you for making some time.
Thank you, Rick.
As always, we appreciate you, man.
I love you and I tolerate you.
We'll see you tomorrow at Wright Toyota. Good night, everybody. Side 10.
Clear.
Fox Sports 910 traffic, powered by your Valley Toyota.